Facts still matter, so stand up, lean in. You don't need a cape just to help someone win. Do something simple, do something true. Make a sandwich for a friend, hold the door for someone too. Facts still matter, it starts with you. Check on your neighbor, share what you can do. One small action turns into a wave. Do something today, be the change that you crave. Facts still matter, it starts with you. Facts still matter, it starts with you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Free Speech Friday. We're so glad you're here. We know you've got many choices to make every single day, and we're super grateful that you choose to spend some time with us, and we mean that. Thank you. Tapping is clapping, liking is loving, sharing is caring. Don't forget there's a gifting goal today that helps us remain relevant, get to and stay on the FYP. Please do that. Join our team. That's something you can do every day. Again, helps you, helps us. We are crowd-funded as we drive towards our $25K target for the Do Something Tour. We sit at $16,212. I cannot thank you all enough. We have to ask because this is a crowd-funded opportunity unless there's somebody out there who wants to sponsor us. If you do, let me know. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all at Facts Still Matter. Appreciate you guys. Head on over to the link tree that is in my bio. You'll find a link to the Facts merch store, which is Facts HQ or factsstillmatter.site, S-I-T-E. Any and all proceeds from the sales of any item during Pride Month will go to support an organization in Vermont. It's called Outright Vermont. They do a lot for the queer community in our state, especially queer kids. And I've been fortunate to have worked with them in the past for some fundraising and for some cool shit. Anyway, any and all proceeds from sales in the merch store this month go directly to that organization. Also, in the link tree in my bio, you'll find a link to the Discord. If you've not yet joined our team, please consider doing that. It's easy. Just click join. We ask you that you go through the verification steps. If for some reason it does not work, please just copy the link, put it in a browser. And then assuming you have that installed on your device, then you're good. If not, just reach out to one of our amazing moderators. They can help you too. Speaking of the Do Something Tour, you'll find a link to the Do Something Tour Instagram page. Not a lot of content there yet. I'm working on it once we get through this weekend. Baccalaureate tonight, graduation tomorrow, graduation party on Sunday, driving my son home on Monday. Speaking of that, programming note, excuse me, no show on Monday because I'll be Dad's Taxi in full swing, which I'm looking forward to. 5 hours in the car with my kid, my oldest, driving back home. His sister does not know that he's coming to the graduation, so there's that. Anyway, don't say that too loud. So it's going to be a great weekend. Looking forward to it. Remember, friends, joy is resistance. Please find these moments to embrace them. You only graduate from high school once. You only graduate from college once. Hopefully, you only go to one senior prom, whatever that might be. So please, 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 please consider just embracing the moments because again, joy is resistance. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. Today is 174th day of the federal government breaking the law by not releasing everything connected to the Trump files. We went through that exercise, and I want to thank you for indulging me yesterday to go through that New York Times, New York Magazine story about meetings, again, just to recap, meetings in the Situation Room in the White House, and they're discussing the president's fascination with nipples. And the lengths to which everyone has gone to cover this up is just mind-boggling. But it won't matter to many of our friends on the right. But we will continue to talk about it until these people are held accountable. And I was thinking about this. Can you imagine if Kamala Harris or any woman had been elected president, right? And their name was all over files. And they decided to start a war in Iran. And they decided to, in part of launching this unwarranted war without explanation, cripple the American economy. And prices are up everywhere. Cut Medicaid, Medicare, health benefits, cut SNAP benefits, crippling the middle class, et cetera, et cetera. And then had an obsession on I don't know, building a ballroom and then redecorating the White House? How do you think that would land in our media sphere? I mean, let's be real. So there's that. A few things to talk about today, but it is Free Speech Fridays, which means open forum. Obviously, we take guests any day and every day, but today is one of those days where we just allow people to share what's on their mind. It is Free Speech Friday. A few things that I want to get to first. There's the president has been tacoing for a couple reasons. Bill Pulte, one, and the threats to invade Carg Island, number two. So we'll get into all that, but since we've got some guests that are requesting, we will bring some folks up. Good morning. How are you today?
Morning. I'm, it's very nice that I saw you were on with Free Speech Friday, because I woke up and I try to stay really positive, like the best I can. I see the good work on the ground that people are doing to try to make community better and everything, but I'm just so mad at the systems today. Like, I just got a message from my partner who's at work, and they get paid this week and I get paid next week. And I have a college degree and I work a pretty regular customer facing job, 40 plus hours a week. He has a high school degree and he works in a factory, blue collar, about 40 to 50 hours a week. And we are in survival mode. And he just texted me, looking at his check stub for this paycheck, that $370 something were going out for health insurance and benefits. $523 were going out in taxes. And I'm just looking around and trying to figure out where this tax money is going. And I'm so angry. That's $800 something. And, we don't live in a high cost of living area. We chose not to have children because we knew we couldn't afford to give them a good life. And we are doing everything right. We're paying off debt. We are living below our means. We are not, I don't remember the last time we went out to dinner. I think we had a lunch date 2 months ago. And we don't get coffee every day. We make it at home. We don't eat avocado toast, whatever they blame it on. And I was so frustrated with myself. And then I shot back at him, it's not our fault. This is the systems. We are not doing anything crazy, but all our money is going to war and going to angry little men cosplaying as Call of Duty soldiers and concentration camps and things that we cannot control except by voting, and we can't vote every day, and we don't get to vote specifically for what our taxes are paid for. We have no infrastructure. We have no high-speed rail. We have nothing coming back. We don't even have roads that don't have potholes. I live in the middle of freaking South Carolina. I'm so angry right now this morning, and I usually don't get like this, but when I look at things like that and I look around and I know we're not the only ones paying that. All that money is going into pots, and all those pots are not coming back to us. And it makes me wonder, why have the system at all if the money's not going to flow back to the people? I don't understand, and I feel like I'm living in La La Land.
That's a lot. You're not alone, obviously. I think that's part of what it is that we're trying to change. The promise of the trickle-down economic model that we know has never worked. Money does not trickle down under that system. It stays at the top. It doesn't circulate. It just stays and spins this way. The rich get richer. The poor get poorer. We are trying to call that out. We are trying to remind our opposition that it's not your friendly neighborhood liberal or progressive that you should be angry at. It's the people that have put you in that position, which are the corporate capitalists. Again, we are living in authoritarian capitalism right now, and it's just going to get worse. So we have to vote. We have to continue, because that is one thing that we can do on the collective, and we have to demand better. We have to demand a system that takes care of us. We have to rule and govern potentially the way that conservatives have governed, by using the power of the executive. By if they want to create a model where the executive branch has more power, then let's use it against them, and let's start expanding rights instead of taking them away. Let's start codifying rights into law. Let's consider expanding the courts, and let's just do it. We have but no choice. With that is our. There needs to be an appetite for it, and that's our goal.
Get the appetite for that. I get it.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying. And my frustration is, I don't even think that's the solution. I think it's the Band-Aid. The power needs to go back to the collective. I think that we need a system in place that allows people to do rank voting directly to our federal and state representatives for like out of 10 items, what percentage we want our taxes to go to. I think we have to get to the nitty gritty and we have to all have a voice for the very nitty gritty details. I want audits. I want public audits. I want our money, because money is what makes the world go round under capitalism. So we need to
Agreed.
be hands on the money. We need to know exactly where it's going. I do not want any more of this. Well, for national security reasons, we can't release how much money we're spending on this. No. Like, no. We need to know where every dime is going, and we need to have direct voting to where it's going. I'm over this.
I don't disagree with you. The question is, how do we get there, though? That's the challenge, right? So
We have to get people in place who will push for laws for this, and
Right.
we have to get people on board, and we have to educate, and we have to market it like we're a professional PR team. I mean,
Right.
it's
But
a lot
how?
of work.
I know, but how? That's the question, right? It's the how. So you have to. So there's two ways to look at this, and I don't disagree with much of what you're saying. I really don't. The question.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you either. I was just trying to expand on that because Jesus.
Yeah, the question though, the question is how. We have to be able to implement. We've got to be able to see. I'm pragmatic in that way. Like I'm a
Yeah.
bright blue progressive, right? I want a system, an overhaul, but I'm also pragmatic to understand that we have to get there. Don't forget, it took 50 years for us to get to this position. It may take that long to go the other way. I think the desire from the left is to fix it tomorrow. We can't fix it tomorrow. It's just impossible in our system. We've got to vote for down ballot. We got to vote for harm reduction this election. We have to continue to hold those people accountable that we put in power. We have to get more candidates running don't forget, there's 500 or so thousand elected positions in our country. Federal, state, local, municipal, dog catchers, librarians, whatever they might be. 7 in 10 run unopposed. So people who complain about the system are also not participating in the system. They're not putting their hand up to run for office. They're not advocating for candidates. So that's what I'm talking about. That's the collective that you're talking about.
Yeah,
There's not a
that's the
single
participation.
there's not a single incumbent in our country that should run unopposed. Doesn't matter which party you sit in. There's not one.
We need to elect people who are intelligent, who know the fields they are speaking of, who surround themselves with intelligent people who know things and who have empathy. And that, unfortunately, is a high bar. I would think intelligence and empathy would be a basic for anyone trying to be a leader. But unfortunately, today, that is a high bar.
Sadly, that's true. So keep thinking about the how, the practical implementation of what you want. Like, again, the how to me is harm reduction today, hold them accountable, get more progressives to run down ballot, give them political experience, get progressives in power, kick out the status quo, and really start to change the shape of our country.
Yeah, I
focus
voted on
focus on the
Tuesday.
matriarchy, focus on trickle-up economics, center education, center healthcare, center infrastructure, center a strong social safety net, and let our country be the things that we claim it can be.
I agree. I mean, my main goal, I voted on Tuesday in the primary in my state. I voted to try to get out Lindsey Graham, pretty much was my main goal. He still won his side of things, but we've got Annie Andrews. That's who I voted for.
She's great.
I've got Jermaine Johnson trying to get him governor. He comes from the hard knock life.
Yeah.
He knows he's a real normal person. He grew up going to 7 different high schools. He grew up in poverty. Like, he knows the problems firsthand. I need a governor that knows the problems firsthand.
Well, thank you for jumping in today. Keep the faith, okay? Remember, we have a mission here. It's harm reduction to survive today to thrive tomorrow. I appreciate you jumping in today, friend.
Thank you.
Thanks for being
And
here.
I'm sorry I kind of took over first thing, but when I saw it was
it's
Free
okay.
Speech Friday and that had just happened, I was just like, you know what? I can't call my parents about my problems because they are the bootstrap puller MAGA. I have no one there I can talk to. And I was like, I need to just vent about just this one little thing that just sparked this anger this morning. And now I feel a lot better because I do know I have community that's in the same boat. I do know that a lot of us feel the same way. And I do know that what you're doing right now is very important. And I think anyone who follows you and watches these lives really appreciates you. And I hope you know that.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you, friend, for being here. Keep the faith. Come back anytime, okay?
You too.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good day. All right, bye. We all feel that. I think it's real. I mean, the hard part is, the frustration we all feel. That frustration has to become action. That's a core tenet of the Do Something Tour, right? We can't just expect it to change. We've got to be part of it. And you may not be cut out for running for office, but how do you know unless you try? I mean, even if you don't raise a dime, even if you're just in a position where you can volunteer your time in the evening and you can knock on doors, you can make your own signs, You can try to petition to be on a ballot. You can try to petition to be on a debate stage. The point is there needs to be more voices. That's a staggering number when I learned that. 7 in 10 elected positions in our country in the last election cycle ran unopposed. That's not good. That's not how we change things. So, got a lot of work to do. Oregons, how are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Oh, so this is a really simple problem to solve, to be honest with you.
Really? Simple. Okay.
Oh, it's super simple. And the here's the hard part, is you just need enough Americans to be tired of the problem.
So that's not so that's not simple by definition then.
Well, if enough people are tired of what we're talking about,
well,
I mean,
you don't think,
I've watched the last year and a half.
Hold on. You don't think people?
Oh, so you're interrupting me.
No, I'm not interrupting. I'm not interrupting, sir. I'm just trying to clarify. Are you saying that people aren't frustrated?
I'm saying they are.
Okay, I would agree.
And that's my whole entire point. And if they're frustrated enough, they need to take action. And
okay, let's
anything in
pause there.
life,
Let's
you
pause
have
there.
to-
Let's pause there.
Oh my God.
Bro,
You're not even letting me.
I will let you finish, but
You're not even letting me.
I will. It's okay. When you say take action, what does that mean?
I was getting there until you interrupted me.
Bro, it's okay. I'll have a conversation. Don't get in your feelings. We're having a conversation.
I'm
It's
not
all
in my
good.
feelings.
Stop.
This is part of the problem.
No, the part of the
right here.
problem is I'm not going to let you monologue. The way I like to do these things is when someone says something.
Monologue. I have
Sir.
said 6 words before you interrupted.
Sir, you are active in the chat. Take a chill. It's all good. I will ask you questions. Don't get up in your feelings. When you say take action, what does that mean? Specifically, what does it mean? What does that mean to you? Take action.
You show up Monday and you claim exempt, no taxation without representation.
Okay, so you
You
want
take back your power.
Okay, so you want
So
everybody.
you can't even let me finish the
I'm
sentence.
asking you questions. Take a break, bro. It's all right.
I'm not
So you're saying
upset.
So you want
You're the one raising your voice.
So you want everyone to go. To change.
Are you okay?
You want everyone to change their tax status to exempt.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what you want everybody to do on Monday. Okay, so
Take the oil out of the machine.
Okay, so everybody's going to go into their office on Monday and change their on their W-4 to they're going to change it to exempt.
Yep.
Okay, that's
Yep.
and what does
Exempt.
that accomplish?
You stop funding these politicians.
Okay, so that's
So
that's
if
not
they
just
don't
like-
have our if they don't have, dude, if you're not gonna let me talk, I'm not gonna have this conversation because this is
Then
not
you-
a conversation.
then-
This is one-sided.
the
You cannot contain yourself.
bro.
You cannot contain yourself.
Do you
You
understand?
have not let me finish a sentence.
Why
Listen
are
to
you up in your?
What is your
feelings?
problem? Are you MAGA? Are you like fake MAGA?
Why are you up in your feelings, sir? I'm just asking you questions.
I'm not in my feelings. You're the one raising your voice, and
I'm
you have not
raising
let
my
me
voice.
finish the sentence.
Do you expect? Okay, go ahead.
Listen to
Go.
you.
Go. I'll give you a minute. Go.
Are you okay?
Go. Get
Are
to,
you seriously okay, bro?
get to it? Go ahead.
Are you okay?
Go ahead. You got a minute. Go.
Oh, I have a minute. Now you're timing. Yeah, it's very simple. Take the oil out of the machine. We have a unique position as Americans, and people don't realize this, is these politicians are our employees. Without our tax money, they don't exist. We all know how much we can look at our W-2s and figure out how much taxes we pay. We can easily pay those at the end of the year. There's no fines for that. It's not illegal, unless you can correct me. I've done it for the last 15 years.
So you haven't paid taxes.
So it's very,
for the last
very
15 years?
easy. See, you didn't even let me finish that
Bro.
fucking 60 seconds, dude.
You haven't.
What
paid
is your issue
you
here?
haven't paid taxes.
What
for
is
15
your issue?
You haven't paid taxes for 15 years.
I've claimed exempt.
Okay, so you're lucky you haven't been audited because that is against the law.
You're not letting me finish
Well,
my
it's
sentence.
against the law.
You're being
though, right?
disingenuous. You
No.
have not
Okay.
let me. You said I had 60 seconds.
Bro.
That was 26 seconds.
Awesome. Keep going. You're committing fraud, but that's fine. Thank you for going public.
you're good, dude. It's your deal. If you don't want any solutions,
I
keep
haven't heard a
complaining
solution.
for the next.
Who did you vote
Dude,
for? Who'd you vote
keep
for in the last
complaining
election?
for the next 2.5 years
Who
and
did you
see where it gets
Who
you.
did you vote for in the
This
last
is
election?
the problem.
Who did you vote for in the last
Kamala,
election?
obviously.
Kamala.
That's what I said.
No, you said Kamala. It's Kamala.
I said Kamala.
No, it's Kamala, not Kamala. It's Kamala.
Dude, you are so disingenuous.
Am I?
Yes.
Am I? So I just wanted to let you.
How do you fight against a friendly exactly?
I'm not.
You have not let me finish the sentence.
Well,
You are so wrapped up in your feelers.
bye, honey. I love you.
Yeah, anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you good now? You got it all out?
Oh, I'm good.
Cool.
I've been good.
Tell me what you had for breakfast today, would you please? What'd you have for breakfast?
Breakfast?
Nobody cares. Okay. So this is an example. That's a disingenuous debater. Not interested in offering solutions. By the way, you can't just claim exempt on your tax returns. That would be against the law. Okay? You can't just do that. So good luck. That would not be advice that I would give anyone to just go ahead and claim exempt. See, that's not an argument that one should make. No, he didn't mean that he would pay it at the end of the year. He means he doesn't want to pay tax. He said no taxation without representation. That's against the law. You can't just do that. Now, if you want to change, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, that's not true. Libs, that's not true. He said he doesn't want to pay his taxes. No taxation without representation. He doesn't want to pay his taxes. Yeah, exactly. You have to qualify to claim exempt. You can't just be exempt. Nice try, though. No, no, you're just wrong. Sorry to tell you that. Anyway, you want to pick and choose?
Hey, what's up, man?
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
Sorry you just had to go through that, brother. That
It's
was
fine.
hard to watch.
It's all right. It's all good.
Just in regards to what he was, I think, trying to say, he did mention that he pays at the end of the year, one time in between, at least what I heard. I mean, I was interested in what he had to say, but if you can't have a conversation, then it's kind of pointless, right?
Well, the argument, though, Michael, was that he wants everybody on Monday to go in and change their tax status to exempt, and you can't do that. You can't do that. You have to qualify to be exempt.
Yeah.
So,
And I think maybe what he was trying to say was like, if you're paying at the end of the year, they have no steam, they have no money to do anything weird during the year. They've got to wait and they've got to please us. Then we'll pay them. Whereas right now, they're just run wild.
Until the IRS garnishes your wages, and that's not true.
Yeah, sure.
And it's just not true.
But at that
you
point,
can't do it that way. You can't do it that way.
Yeah, I know we can't, but I think I understand what he was trying to say. Anyway, my whole thing with all of this, we're wondering how we get from here to there. And I guess all I have to say about that is the one thing that I've noticed is we don't enforce the small things. Now, stick with me here, all right, because I'm going to kind of get a little abstract. When I'm old enough where before it was perfectly fine to drive your car without a seatbelt, right? Perfectly fine. Hell, you could even drink a beer and drive. That was totally normal. Then they
70s.
brought in the law.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then, they brought in the laws and everybody lost their minds and was like, oh, this is un-American and this and that. And you guys can go on YouTube and look up some of those old clips. It's hilarious, by the way. The point is, now it's widely accepted. You get into a car, you put your seatbelt on, no brainer, right? They enforced the small things to make it become real. We as a society don't combat the small things, so we don't have any teeth to do the bigger things. You guys want to go from here to changing the entire system, but We don't do any of the smaller things to let them know that we're actually willing to fight. We've got flock cameras everywhere. Cameras everywhere. We're getting tickets from cameras. We're doing blah, 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 blah. If we all don't like it, we should have done away with that almost immediately. So I would say that our first starting point has nothing, almost nothing to do with the larger task at hand. We need to get on some of the small things and show them that we're organized, get ourselves together, then we can move forward and gain speed. A small snowball at the top of the hill, so to speak.
I get that, Michael. But again, it's the same question I've asked previous people. The question is, how? So the reason I ask, the reason I'm specific about that question is because I don't hear a lot of the how from people who want to change the system. For an example would be a how from my perspective would be like what I've advocated for. Harm reduction today to stop the train from going off the tracks. Demand that those elected officials that we put in power become the more left-leaning individuals that we voted for. Organize behind progressive candidates, make sure progressive candidates are running in state houses across the country, so they're gaining experience. They become viable candidates for the federal office. We go after them. We get them in power. They have to work with a coalition with status quo Democrats to overturn Citizens United, so we can get money out of politics. To outlaw lobbying, so there's no more funding from dark money coming from these little K Street facilities. Expand the Supreme Court, again, getting a large enough majority in the House and Senate that you can do that. Make DC a state so that you've got 2 more Democratic senators. Those would be hows. Those would be things that we can do. Those are systems that we can do. Because what you're talking about, I don't disagree with. But what's the tool? What do you do is part in your world to make that change? Due respect, don't take this the wrong way, other than just talk about it.
No, I'm listening. I hear you. And everything that you mentioned to me are big rocks. Those aren't small rocks. You know what I mean? Once we're at the point of doing one of the first things you said, harm reduction, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say that that's our first big rock. We should have already done 12 to 24 smaller tasks before even getting there. And the reason why I say that is the smaller tasks are going to teach us what infrastructure we need in order to accomplish that bigger task. So we're going to have guys that do PR, like I think the young lady mentioned before. We're going to have guys that are willing to go door to door and do that stuff in their, nighttime, off time or what have you. So, I don't think that I have the answers for you.
Well, what's one?
I'm just trying to.
What's one small rock? Give me something specific. What is one small rock? Because the chat's asking for that.
Okay.
Too.
One small rock to me, and this is just my personal opinion, is the flock camera systems and camera systems for ticketing.
Okay. So what do we? I know, but what do we do about it?
That's a good question.
That's my point. Like, we can agree that it's a bad thing, but what do we do about it? How do we just drive around with baseball bats and knock them off poles? Like, that's the issue. It's like, what do we do about that?
I mean,
and I don't disagree. Like, the surveillance state, we should all be freaked out about that. But what do we do? How do? And I would agree, Gregory. That's a big rock. That's a big rock, Michael. I don't think that's a small rock. I think because I think that's a big rock. Because, like, again, we can agree that we don't want that. The question then becomes, how do we get there? Exactly. That's where I talk about harm reduction. So we have to stop. We have to first stop the expansion of the surveillance state, and then try to pull it back. I'm pragmatic. Maybe I'm naive. I don't know. I'm pragmatic. I've been in government. I know how it works. It's a slow moving ship. We can't approach the work. I use this analogy and see if this applies to you. The Republican Party, conservatives in America, fueled by Christian nationalism, white supremacy, and racism, along with authoritarian capitalism, have been building for this for 50 years. Okay, so we're here now, and everything was built. Then they put this fine piece of china on the wall. Donald Trump grabbed that piece of china and smashed it into a million pieces. The left wants to fix it as fast as he broke it. And that's just impossible in our system.
Yeah.
So we've got
That's not going to work.
It's not going to work. So we can say, yeah, camera ticketing, totally agree. So elect legislators in your state that run on that and say, listen, I want you, this is an important issue to me. I want you to introduce policy that's going to remove cameras from communities. I don't want the surveillance state. That would be something you could do, right?
Would a third party help us to do that?
Well, the problem, that has no power.
Leave the two-party system?
But the third party now has no power.
Well, I think that's our fault, right? If we changed our votes to that third party, I mean, wouldn't that?
There's not enough, Michael. Let me try to explain it this way, okay? 90 million people did not vote. If all 90 million of those people decided to vote for a viable third party candidate, then you've got your solution. But who is that? Who is that person? It's not Jill Stein. She's the cicada candidate. She shows up every 4 years. Why does she not campaign? Why do we not see her anywhere other than on every 4 years for the presidency? Right? Right.
Cicada candidate. That's hilarious.
Well, it's true though, right? She only shows up when So there's no viable option, because I've spoken to a lot of third party voters, and they all have someone else that they support. That's not a coalition. Now, if somebody came to me and said, Michael is the third party candidate that we want, then there was fundraising and there was voter activism and there was organization and there was a ground game in all 50 states, then you're talking. But you know the difference between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump being in the White House? 150,000 votes in 4 swing states.
Yeah.
150,000 votes in 4 swing states. That's it. That's the number. So a lot of those people didn't vote, and a lot of those people voted third party. So again, we got to look at this practically. That's why I advocate for harm reduction. We've got to stop the shit from going, because we got to stop saying that fascism is on the rise. It's here. We have to stop it in its tracks and then pull back and then elect officials in your state that want to do away with the surveillance state and start talking about how we get money out of politics.
Let's try to approach this from a different angle. What are our actual advantages that before were not available? We do have the internet. We do have instant communication. We've got TikTok. We've got community building in this new, different way. You know, I don't think that anybody debates the fact that Trump going on some of these podcasts and doing some of this extracurricular activities kind of helped him out in a big way. So perhaps we can use some of these mechanisms to get that third party to where it needs to be, because that's where the attention of the kids are. Not, calling anybody kids out there, but you see what I mean?
Yeah, that's, you got to be able to identify someone though. So I'll give you an example. If Zohran Mamdani or someone who with his policies, which are popular, if he became the leader of a specific movement, not just third party, because third party has become a whole bunch of people. There's the libertarian wing, there's the Communist Party wing, there's a whole bunch of people that are connected to this third party vote. There's no coalition. They're not organized. If it was somebody like a Zohran Mamdani who spoke at a populist message, similar to what Trump did, only different messaging, people could unite behind him. They believed in his policies. They believed in what he spoke of. They believed in going after corporate greed and going after the rich people who aren't paying their taxes. That's something that people could unite behind. There is nothing like that exists in our system now. So I see people saying, let's implement ranked choice voting. I don't disagree with ranked choice voting. The question is, how do we do it? This is what I'm asking everybody who advocates for third parties. I want to have this conversation with you. This is part of Do Something Tour, but I need you to start thinking about the how. I need you to say, here we are today, step A, step B, step C, step D to get to this point. What I hear from a lot of people is third party voters blow up the system, we'll fix everything. That's not practical. Those are just words.
Like, our first step is consolidation.
with all those people that have a vision of a third party. I agree with you. See, that would be a strategy. How then do you get all these alternative votes? Because don't forget, there's people that don't participate that don't want to vote at all. They don't want to feed the system. So then how then do we encourage them to vote? We struggle to get 65%. I'll give you an example. Hungary, which is probably
You agree that consolidation is the first step, though.
I would agree. Well, no, I would agree that consolidating behind an individual or a particular movement would be, because consolidating within your little groups is not going to help. I think the consolidation has to go from this to this.
Consolidation of all of us.
Correct.
Into one solid movement.
Correct. That could be.
So that's our first step. If you agree with that first step, I agree with that first step.
That would be, I'm not saying I agree. I'm saying that would be a first step. I look at the country of Hungary because Viktor Orban is someone that Donald Trump has idolized. He wanted his country he wanted the U.S. to be shaped in the way that Hungary was. I think it's 82% of registered voters in Hungary showed up and voted him out. It can be done. It can be done within the system that you have. See, I believe in fixing the system from the inside out. I would love to be in a situation where we can have ranked choice voting in every single state. I'd love to see that. I would love to have a situation where we have ranked choice voting in every single state. We can't get there with all this money in politics. And we're not going to get money out of politics unless we vote for people who are willing to say, I am going to introduce legislation to overturn Citizens United. You get a majority in the House, you get a majority in the Senate, and you overturn it, and then money's out of politics. And then you can start to expand because the RNC loses power, the DNC loses power, corporate public interest loses power, dark money loses power. Then you can start to expand. Again, I'm not disagreeing with your desire. In fact, I don't disagree with anybody's desire to have a third party, but I just need to start hearing some solutions from folks in that camp.
Let me just put this out there, right? So I'm in IT, right? Okay. And I kind of am looking at this from a support position, right? I don't think that the current system that we have or the computer that we have is exactly savable. And if you're going to make me save it, I'm going to have to do a bunch of weird stuff. So here's the idea,
Good analogy.
Right? Mm-hmm. This computer is the computer. It's the family computer. The kid's been putting LimeWire and Napster on it. There's tons of viruses. There's 12 different versions of Tetris. For God's sakes, I don't know why you need that many.
Roblox, Minecraft. Yeah, I got you.
Right.
Yep.
So your complaint is that it's slow, it sucks. Dad can't even do his word processing on it like he bought it for. This computer's been out here. So what do I suggest? I say, hey, man, you might need to buy a new computer or something a little bit faster if you want to have all this crap on there at the same time. That's number one. Number two, I could wipe everything and reinstall Windows. That's the second solution. Or you can pay me lots and lots and lots of money to sit here and individually go through every single Tetris wave and water and all this other stuff and remove it. And Napster and all of that crap and just remove it. But that's going to take way too much time, and you don't want to pay me that much. That's going to be, and the installation of that Windows, never going to work the same way as a fresh install. So if we're looking at the situation as somewhat the same, and as an IT person, what I would probably recommend is just pull the hard drive out, get you another hard drive, install Windows on that. I'll even hook back up the old hard drive. That way you don't lose any of your data, right? The data is important, but we're going to virus scan that bad boy. We're going to make sure that it doesn't infect the new installation when we do it. Right. What can we all take away from that scenario and kind of copy and paste?
Yeah, I mean,
onto what it is we're trying to accomplish.
I understand analogies and are sometimes necessary for conversation, but human beings are not computers. And there's real world impact when we do things like this. People not participating is why women lost their rights to their body. People not showing up is why Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP programs have been cut. People not expressing their voice is why we are in a war. People not standing to say there's a common good, there's something that's more important than me is why we have a federal government now led by the President of the United States, who's the most corrupt individual to arguably ever serve. We have to consider those things. I have to ask people to think beyond just themselves, beyond just the circle that they're in. Again, nothing wrong with the desire. Nothing wrong with the desire to do what you want to do, but there's going to be consequences along the way. And here's a question for you. Under perfect conditions, there's never really been a time where conditions are perfect, but under perfect conditions in our country, marginalized communities are always harmed. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then
Every time.
Exactly. So we're the people either not participating and or third party voting now, which is not organized. Under perfect conditions, those communities are hurt. Imagine what it's like if fewer people show up and fascism continues to reign supreme over our country. What happens to those people, to those communities?
Oof.
You know the answer.
I mean, do we even have the time? Yeah.
You know the answer.
Do we even
That's
have
my
the
point.
time?
That's what harm reduction
Right.
is, Michael. That's what harm reduction is. And again, we have to be willing to say, by the way, how old are you?
I'm in my 40s.
Okay. So
43 to be exact.
okay, so that's kind of the push. And like I said, this has been building. You know, conservatives led by the Heritage Foundation and others have been chipping away at the judicial system. They've got federal judges in there that have been appointed for life, and they've been doing this for years. I've been talking about this for a long time. They've been doing this for decades. Mitch McConnell made it famously, obviously changed the rules as far as Senate confirmations, and now we have a Supreme Court that is highly conservative for the next generation. If for some reason Republicans maintain power, especially in the Senate, Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas are going to retire, and Trump's going to replace them with two younger, even more extreme judges. So then what have we gained by voting third party in the next election? We've not gained anything. We've lost
Nothing.
things.
We're dead in the water. Yeah.
That's my point. Now, listen, I'm not a fan of status quo Democrats. I'm certainly not a fan of the machine. I get it, but I look at them as, I've said this before, public transportation. They're going to get me further down the road, and I'm willing to walk the rest of the way. And by walking, I mean advocating for progressive candidates, trying to do everything I can to push them to advocate for getting money out of politics. It's more than just us. There's not enough people in this third party movement because they're not organized. Everybody has these ideas, and I love the ideas. Dano said it. They're a means to an end. We have to get there. If the right did it to us for 50 years, it may take that long to swing the pendulum. And people have got to be active, engaged, willing to commit, building infrastructure now so that in the next generation, the next community of activists, whether it's a do something movement that exists for 50 years, whether it's more ground game, whether it's more, more pushes in state legislatures to introduce ranked choice voting in their states, these things are going to take time.
I'm not sure we've got time.
Well, what's the alternative then, Michael?
I don't think I want to say
No, say it.
here on this platform.
Say it.
But,
Say it.
I mean, the system's just going to break and we're all going to be screwed.
Well, we're
Gas is super high. Food is
I understand that, but we're
3
screwed.
times the amount.
We're
Like,
screwed now. See, that's my point. We're
oh, yeah.
we're-
And it's
we're-
only going to get worse.
if we don't stop the train. You kind of walked into the point.
Correct.
So if you see if the
Oh, no, I know. I agree with you. But
Yeah.
50 years? I don't think we got 50 years. And, at this rate, 50 years? No way.
Again,
No way.
I'm just using that as an example. I go back to Reagan because that's when the wealth gap started to really change. That's when the economic system we have now, divided us, from basically eliminated the middle class. That's why I use 50 years. It goes back to Reagan. That's why I use that number.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, thanks for jumping in today. I appreciate it. A lot of folks have requested, but
Hey, man.
just
Good talk.
all I would ask, Michael, all I would ask is keep thinking about the how. Keep thinking about the how I do what I want to do because I appreciate the conversation. Thanks for being here. Have a good day.
I followed you.
Oh, sorry, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, so that's the push. See, that's how you have a conversation. Unlike our first guest, who was just off their shit. Again, this is the conversation that I am going to be having on the road. I want people to think about the practical implementation of what they want. Okay, what they want, how we get from here to there. In my mind, there's a few things that have to happen. It's got to start with getting control of the Senate because of the fact that we can change the court. That's the biggest thing. People don't think about that enough. It's not just about stopping the president's agenda. It's about stopping the court and eventually expanding the court so we can get a majority in place. So when we have a Democratic president in place in 2028, we have the control of the Senate so that we can expand the court from 9 to 13. And you put liberal judges on there. Then you have a 7-6 liberal split. We haven't had a liberal Supreme Court in a long time, a very long time. Those are the kinds of things that need to happen. This is why I advocate for this almost, well, again, you've heard me, it's harm reduction. There's only one way we can, well, I'm not gonna say only one way. That's the practical approach that I wish people would take. Could take a while. Need a judge for each state? Don't need a judge for each state. No. We just need a judge for each circuit. There's 13. Okay. Recovering, can you make a comment in the chat for a second? I'm going to see if I can mod you from here. Maybe there's a difference. For some reason, I don't know why. Hang on one second, guys. We're trying to change up our mod model here a little bit. And I need you, Recovering, if you can make a comment real quick so I can see where you are. I know you're in here. I saw you. Hang on a second. Where is she? Hello. Hello, friend. Okay. All right. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, Grateful. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Fine,
Hi,
thank you.
everyone.
Hi.
I just wanted to say I love your show, but I think that one thing I have to give the Republicans credit for, they are great at slogans, catchy slogans for people to attach to. And although they may not even know what they're actually saying or their meaning, they are good at it. And I like the slogan, or not slogan, but the movement of harm reduction. However, I think most people don't even know what that really means. So you breaking it down is great. For me, we need to get back into schools teaching civics, because too many of us or people don't understand how government truly works. And they really think that the presidency is the, all in, everything is there. That's where everything starts and stops. And that's not where it begins or starts or ends. So just teaching basic civics, number one. Number two, like you said, stop lobbying. But how do we get to that point? We have to vote in those politicians that are willing to put an end to lobbying. There needs to be term limits on these politicians, because they get in and they get bought. And that's where the lobbying comes in at. We have to get to those points. But I love the harm reduction movement. But I think for a lot of people, they don't even understand what that means. So you breaking that down is great. So we all need to get on the band of harm reduction, band together to stop the harm, and then we move on to the bigger movement.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I don't think harm reduction is the bumper sticker. I don't think that's the bumper sticker. I think that's the ultimate goal. I think the bumper sticker is about freedom, safety, accountability, affordability. There are ways, there are ways that we can message around it. I don't disagree. Yeah, I think harm reduction is not going to land on people. That's the ultimate goal. Like there's a strategy behind it. If you want to, whatever your business strategy is may not align with what your marketing message might be. So the business strategy in this case is harm reduction. How we get there is we remind people that affordability, accountability, freedom, safety, those are all things that are catchy on a bumper sticker, right? Again, this has been studied for years. I grew up marketing, my MBAs in marketing and communications, and a very effective strategy because some of the key consistencies of some of the most effective advertising campaigns in history are 3 words. Where's the beef? Just do it. Be like Mike.
Absolutely.
Stop the steal. Fuck Joe Biden. Lock her up. There's a reason that they do it that way because it's easily consumable. It rolls off the tip of the tongue. You can remember it. It's effective. Yes, we can. Exactly, Paco. Yes, we can. Those are all effective strategies. Harm reduction does not resonate like that, but affordability, safety, and freedom does. Those kinds of things matter.
Okay, I completely agree, and that's basically what I'm saying is that Republicans are good at those catchy phrases, although there's strategy behind it. And let's be clear, they didn't just wake up with Trump to implement all of the things that they're doing. This was started years ago, and we're just now, most of us are just now starting to see what those fruits are from those seeds that were planted years ago. Again, it's not going to happen overnight. However, like you're saying, we have to start somewhere and collectively plant the seed that we can begin to see the fruits from. So thank you so very much.
Appreciate you. Have a good day. Be safe out there. Thank you. Yeah, I get it. I understand. That's the desire. Hold on a second. I can see recovering in here. No. Okay. While you're here, don't go anywhere. Hang on a second. I gotta see if I can do this. Yes. Done. Okay. You're a mod officially.
Oh, thank you.
So I saw you in the chat. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to our little, like I said, island of misfit toys. Also, I know you requested, and I invited you, and I saw you. You and I have talked about harm reduction a lot. Any comments on that, or any thoughts about third party voters?
Logically, I'm going to speak logically
Sure.
as to what can what I can see that can actually happen when it comes to third party. I feel like third party have a lot of similarities with us progressives, other than those MAGA converts or whatever like that. I'm not speaking of those. I'm just speaking of those that solely, line up with a third party or who wants a third party. I believe a lot of their issues are the same as a lot of us progressives. And I think that that's a conversation. Yeah, I believe that that's a conversation between the two that needs to happen, or the connection that needs to happen, so that the stigma of who progressives are, as well as the stigma of those third party voters, can kind of subside. Because I feel like once that conversation is had, then there'll be a realization of, oh, well, we kind of like the same shit. You know what I mean? And that is a way of forming harm reduction on both sides, third party and progressives, if I'm making sense.
You are. I mean, I think I like that. I like that point, because you're starting to see people that are moving away from MAGA are not going to conservative Democrats. They're going to more progressive candidates. So when we look back, there was a lot of people that went from Bernie to Trump. And if you
Yep.
think about that, there's a reason, because a lot of people that were trying to decide saw Bernie as an outsider, much like they saw Trump.
Yep.
So they
Yep.
said I don't agree with Trump's policies, or I don't agree with Bernie's policies, but I want the outsider. Progressive politics led by Bernie is becoming more and more mainstream. It's what people want. We don't want money in politics. We all can agree. We don't want we want Citizens United overturned. I think most of us would agree. The question again is how we get there. The labeling.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I feel like too, I hate the fact that we get to this point where we're 5 months away from the election, and now we're like trying, like you said, Democrats try to hurry up and get things done in a fast way. And I feel like that's where we are now, to where, we're having all these conversations so fastly, because we don't have much time before we place a vote. I think, excuse me if I'm a little tongue tied, but I feel like times like I wish we had these 5 months that we have in a year, if that makes sense. That way we have enough time to educate those that are teeter-tottering or don't know where they are or what direction they want to go. I feel like there are a lot of unsure voters. We have more unsure voters now that we had prior. Sorry guys, the babies are getting on the bus.
It's all good.
But that's what I feel. I feel like we need these 5 months to continue even after November.
Agreed.
Even, when January gets here, when February gets here, because now we're speaking of the big election, the one that, there's going to be another MAGA point 2 party. You know what I mean? We don't know who it's going to be.
Tea Party became
We don't
MAGA.
think they're going to win.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
this is going to happen again. And I just want people to know that after November, it doesn't just end. It heightens. And we need to get more educated. Those little pamphlets we get in the mail that it's so annoying around this time. Like, literally look at those pamphlets, read about these people, so that you can, you don't just have to figure out, you're not filling in a bubble for someone that you just know from speaking about them. Like, know somebody and read about those people, because those are the people that make such a difference in your community, which bleeds off into your county, which bleeds off into your state, which bleeds off into your country. And I just feel like that domino effect needs to be substantially taught, so that people can understand their vote. I think a lot of people don't understand their vote. Just like, I got on earlier with the guy with the tax thing and all of that type of stuff. And it's like, this type of misinformation this is how it bleeds, to the point where he's speaking on something that's not true. Like, you can't do that, and I'm speaking from a person who's been doing accounting for 15 years, you know what I mean? And what he's probably thinking about is when you go into your payroll officer and you tell them, can you take this deduction off, only if you have a dependent that's 17 years or younger, you know what I mean? And that tax still has to be paid. And like Newshound said, the state is not waiting on our paycheck every Friday.
Exactly.
They're not waiting on that tax money every Friday. That's not how that works.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? And
I do.
I know you know what I mean? And when you fill out a W-4, that W-4, we put that information into the payroll system, which is linked to the taxes and all that type of stuff. And it's such a thing that a lot of people don't know, because it's not your sector, and you shouldn't know, but you should not give out misinformation when it comes to stuff like that. And that's only because you heard it from someone else. You heard that from someone else. Okay. There's no way in hell you've been doing it for that long and nothing has never come back at you. That's a fucking lie. And I just want to
or present the argument to say, I've been reading about tax policy, and if we can do this under the law, instead of just saying Clinton said. We all know that that's just not true. You can't just do that.
It's not true.
Exactly. So
but I just wanted to say that much. Just misinformation is real, and this is not the time to be to be bullshitting.
Agreed.
This is serious.
Thank you very much, and thank you officially now for being part of our team. We love you, friend. Glad you're here.
Oh, I'm so happy to be the Barbie doll with no legs.
Oh, that's right. We have a little running inside joke that we are the island of misfit toys. That is us for sure. And you are apparently the Barbie with missing legs. Okay. Thank you. I love you, friend.
All right.
Be safe out there.
Love you
Talk
more.
to you later. Bye.
You too.
That's great. Trump is harm reduction, Walter? Okay, that's good to know. I must have missed that memo. Sorry. That's wild. Trump is harm reduction? Wow. Listen, again, this is an important conversation, and I'm gonna press people on this. And I saw the conversation. I know people that are in here and didn't agree with my stance, but I don't care. It's not about what we agree or disagree as far as my approach to it. I am just asking people to have a plan. That's it. Give me something that I can get behind. You can't just say, just go into your HR office on Monday morning and claim exempt. That's not a plan. That's not a plan. Have you researched it? Do you know what that means? Do you understand the implications? They're not. It's not like they're using your payroll deductions every week to pay for the Defense Department. It's not how it works. If you decide you want to rewrite tax code, then elect people who are advocating for that. Oh, I don't know, Kamala Harris, for example, who wanted to raise the corporate tax rate. Not far enough from my perspective. That was a criticism. I do not want little bites of the fucking apple. I want the goddamn orchard. But I know the best time. Everybody, when was the best time to plant it? But when's the best time to plant a tree? Everybody know the answer to that question? When's the best time to plant a tree? The answer is yesterday. That was the best time to plant a tree. Next best answer is today, then tomorrow, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is what 20 years ago, sure, but you get the idea. The idea behind this is that it's taken this long, and I think, and I love people's attitude. Got to see it, got to see it. This is what third parties don't see. If you're speaking to progressives and democratic socialists and people that are leftists, we get it. We understand. We agree for the most part. Where there's disconnect is that I don't hear a lot of actionable items from that group of people. Who is the leader of the third party? Is it Jill Stein? Is that who it is? Is it Chase Oliver? Is that who it is? How come we never see them? Who's the leader of the Democratic Party, for that matter? There is none. There's names that people throw out there because they're visible. We see them. People say it's Newsom. I don't think so. People say it's Buttigieg. I don't think so. People say it's Kamala. I don't think so. People say it's J.B. Pritzker. I don't think so. They don't exist. So give me a reason. Idealistically and ideologically, we probably agree on a lot of things. In fact, there's probably elements of leftism and communism that we can probably unite behind and form this coalition, whether it be a populist message or whatever it might be, that says we agree there's too much money in politics. We agree we need to expand the courts. We agree that DC needs to be a state, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We agree that our tax system is bloated because it's going to the wrong things. Just give me a plan. Give me a plan. I remember sitting down. I got invited to go to a seminar with Branding Democrats not too long ago. That was a few months ago, however long it was. And I'm sitting there listening to the same old message. And I'm like, fucking, this is bullshit. Why would we continue this? Give me some progressive. If the DNC spoke to the left, if they spoke to leftists, if they'd invited me into a forum and said, how do we fix the party? I would be brutally fucking honest with them. Stop propping up the status quo. Start listening to the left in your party. Start understanding that, yes, we agree on harm reduction. We agree from your policies are better for the middle class. We know that. Your party's better for healthcare. We know that, but you don't go far enough. This is the way I look at it. Republicans in the last 50 years have pandered to the rich. There is no denying it. They've stopped every legislation to overturn Citizens United. They can continue to cripple the middle class by giving tax breaks to the wealthy over and over and over and over again. The Democrats do a much better job from a policy perspective to help the middle class and the working poor, but they've not gone far enough. So there's the model. There's the harm reduction. Now, how do we accelerate that to really get a country that we could be proud of? Again, I focus on democratic socialism. Call it whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. The system that I would love to see in our country would be one that is fueled by the tenets of the matriarchy, which you focus on healthcare, you focus on education, You focus on infrastructure, and you focus on building a strong social safety net. Who in their right mind would disagree with that? What do we prioritize in our country right now? You guys know the answer. It's the billionaire class and corporate greed and money. That's it. That's our priority. You hear these authoritarian capitalists, and that's all they want. They just want more money. They want more wealth. We prioritize billionaires. We prioritize corporations. I am so tired of the argument that corporations are job creators. They're not. They acquire companies through M&As, and then they lay people off. They'll farm jobs off overseas, or they'll go to automation. They're not job creators. I think it's the number. I think 99% of all businesses in the United States are 500 employees or less. And then 97% of those are 50 employees or less. The middle class, entrepreneurs, small business, those are the job creators. Yet we don't build a structure to support them. Instead, we give money to people who are cutting jobs so that they can profit. So third party can't solve that problem. You need horsepower to do it. Take advantage of the system you have now. Again, if we can learn a lesson from the Trump administration and from conservative politics for the past 50 years, we can learn something to say they ruled with a fucking hammer. So let's do the same. Let's do the same. Let's use the courts. Let's challenge everything. Let's push back on language in the Constitution. Let's fight for the rights of others. Let's expand the 14th Amendment. Let's expand the First Amendment. I've read to you guys my new Bill of Rights. Speaking of that, I'm going to play a little sound from Mike Johnson because this is wild. Bitch Boy, I've not really given Bitch Boy a lot of love recently. Couple of spots. I'm going to start with this. This is from a couple weeks ago. And I just want, again, this is the fight that we're up against because he's trying to convince people that the Republican Party in America in 2026 is looking out for the middle class, all because God.
I want to talk a little bit about what's ahead of us, but wanted to just take a moment to reflect on something that just happened. It was on Sunday a few days ago. We had the Rededicate 250 event on the National Mall. It was really an extraordinary thing. Many thousands of Americans came out to participate in that. An historic event. It was a welcome opportunity to recommit ourselves to the cause that our founders fought and died for 250 years ago. And sadly, too many young Americans are no longer taught the moral and religious foundations of our extraordinary.
Because our country was not founded as a Christian nation, Mike. I know what you're trying to do, bitch boy. We had this conversation. When I sent you to the corner, we talked about this.
Country, and that is the source of our greatness, the reason we became the most free, most successful, most powerful, most benevolent nation in the history of the world.
Most benevolent? Debatable.
But evidently some in the mainstream media missed all that history lesson as well. And I just wanted to comment, it was brought to my attention yesterday that MS Now, formerly MSNBC, mocked me in a big segment they had. And the reason they mocked me was because in my remarks, I led the prayer of rededication on the mall. I stated the self-evident truth that our rights do not derive from government, they derive from our Creator. And they had...
That's the argument. Unalienable rights, right? The Constitution, first of all, is our governing document, not the Declaration of Independence. Well, more specifically, it's about the individual. So in Mike's mind, in the mind of the Christian nationalists, that because it's the individual whose rights are granted to us under our system, that our individual rights come from our Creator. And that's just not the case.
This entire segment about how ridiculous that was and what a crazy notion, and isn't Johnson such a crazy fundamentalist, et cetera. The best part is I was literally quoting from the Declaration of Independence. So let me take this opportunity. I want to just direct my friends in the mainstream media to the second paragraph of our nation's birth certificate, the Declaration, which remains the most foundational and consequential sentence in all of American history.
No, I think we the people of the United States is the most consequential because that's what the Constitution says. So miss me with your bullshit.
We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. They're endowed by their Creator with certain...
All men, really? 1776? Talk to me about the all men piece, Mike.
Rights, among others, the rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. it shouldn't be too much to ask that the people who talk about politics on TV on a network that millions of Americans tune into have a basic understanding of America's political foundations. I hope this serves as a friendly reminder to every American that the best civic education is not from your favorite TV anchor or late night host, okay? It comes from our founding documents. You ought to go read the Declaration and the Constitution and the Federalist Papers and the...
You guys are going to be blown away when I say this. I agree with what Bitch Boy just said. There are people in our country who believe that the Declaration of Independence is our governing document. It's not. Many people don't even know the first few words of the Declaration of Independence. They think it's the we the people. It's when in the course of human events, by the way. Okay? So, first of all, if you get a chance to go to D.C., go to the National Archives and look at some of these documents because it's cool to see. Once again, this is a debate, and I was curious about this. So, the Declaration does state it's a philosophical and or religious conversation that we've always had. The Declaration states that people are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, so then that becomes incredibly subjective. So if my pursuit of happiness is to worship Satan, then according to them, that's within my rights, but not in Mike's worldview. The Constitution does not say rights come from God. Neither does the Declaration of Independence. The Second Amendment to the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. The United States Constitution does not say rights come from God. Instead, it establishes a legal framework that recognizes and protects rights through amendments, such as the First, the Second, the 14th, etc. From a legal standpoint, courts enforce constitutional rights regardless of religious beliefs. There are three common perspectives. Natural rights view, which is rights come from God, from human nature. Government merely protects them. This was influential during the American founding. Constitutional or legal view, rights exist because they are recognized and protected by law. Courts and the constitutions define their scope. And then there's the secular human rights view. Rights arise from human dignity and moral principles, not necessarily from a deity. Many modern democracies and international human rights frameworks uses this approach. So, yes, the Declaration does say endowed by a creator. And that's the pitch. That's what many people who believe the United States is a Christian nation. The United States is not a Christian nation. It's not even open for debate. It's a whole fucking point. The first words of the Constitution after the preamble. Congress shall make no law. It's the Establishment Clause. Establishing a religion. You can practice whatever the fuck you want or nothing. I don't know why that's so complicated. I'm going to go back to Bitch Boy because he said something a little bit later. I timestamped this. I want to make sure I get it right. Hang on. And this is wild because he's trying to tell us what today's modern Republican Party is. Don't throw up in your mouth. I'm sorry if you haven't had breakfast yet, but here you go.
Patriots, people who are selfless, many veterans who are coming in to serve, people who have been accomplished in their community, done things selflessly, servant leadership in their community. They've been accomplished state legislators or local legislators, and accomplished business persons. We have an incredible array of people. The one thing they all have in common: they're not monolithic. They don't agree on every issue. But they believe in the core principles of our party. What is the Republican Party? What is American conservatism?
Okay, he's going to tell us. He's going to tell us what American conservatism is. All right, here we go.
What is the Republican Party? It's individual freedom, limited.
Individual freedom. Really? Really? Today's Republican Party is individual freedom. How? Let's be objective for a second. That is the ideal that today's Republican Party has sold to people, because what the list that he's going to go down is what he wants people to believe. Individual freedoms? Really? Let's speak to the marginalized communities in our country and see if they feel the same way, because I think they would disagree with you.
Leadership in their community. They've been accomplished state legislators or local legislators, and accomplished business persons. We have an incredible array of people. The one thing they all have in common: they're not monolithic. They don't agree on every issue, but they believe in the core principles of our party. What is the Republican Party? What is American conservatism? What is the Republican Party? It's individual freedom, limited government.
Limited government, limited government. So this goes back onto the individual freedoms thing. So limited government. So today's modern Republican Party is limited government. I don't know if you could be the opposite, more opposite of limited government to want to know what's in people's pants. I don't know how that would be limited. I don't know how limited government would be masked thugs roaming the streets of American cities. I don't think that's limited. I don't think it's limited government to be cutting SNAP benefits for children, the elderly, the disabled, and in many cases, those two categories include veterans. I don't know if that's limited government. I don't know if it's limited government or if you are or small government or responsible government if you are giving corporate tax breaks and having those people be influential in writing policy, or the president enriching himself and his family, or building a UFC cage on taxpayer dollars or ballrooms, etc. Okay, Mike, back to your list.
Done things selflessly, servant leadership in their community. They've been accomplished state legislators or local legislators, and accomplished business persons. We have an incredible array of people. The one thing they all have in common: they're not monolithic. They don't agree on every issue, but they believe in the core principles of our party. What is the Republican Party? What is American conservatism? What is the Republican Party? It's individual freedom, limited government, the rule of law.
The rule of law. Well, standing there with a straight face, bitch boy, individual freedoms, limited government, and the rule of law? So is it the rule of law to pardon people who tried to overthrow our government? You know, the limited government? Is that the rule of law? And then reward them with this weaponization fund that still kind of exists out there? And then reward them, right? Or just pardoning people who beat up police officers? The rule of law? Electing someone who's a 34-time convicted felon, an adjudicated sexual predator, not holding people accountable since you are the Department of Justice connected to these files, not investigating your own perpetrators of fraud within your own party, excusing the crimes of serial sexual abusers. Ken Paxton, I'm talking to you. Really, Mike? What else?
Peace through strength, fiscal
peaceful strength, peace through strength, and fiscal responsibility. Really? Peace through strength. What the fuck does that even mean? What does peace through strength even mean? So I walk around the neighborhood with a bat on my shoulder, and because I don't swing it, does that mean it's peace? And fiscal responsibility? Are you fucking kidding me? Wow.
Responsibility, free markets, and human dignity.
Okay, let's go back to the list again, and we'll get through the whole thing. This is embarrassing. And he believes it.
On every issue. But they believe in the core principles of our party. What is the Republican Party? What is American conservatism? What is the Republican Party? It's individual freedom, limited government, the rule of law, peace through strength, fiscal responsibility, free markets, and human dignity. I don't ask much more of anybody.
Human dignity? Mike, your party, because of trigger laws, allowed Adriana Smith to be an incubator in a hospital room in Georgia. That's human dignity in your mind? Really? Really? If that's what human dignity is, then what are we fucking talking about? Is that the bar now? That's human dignity? Okay.
But you got to hold the core principles that made us the greatest nation in the history of the world. I never ask anybody to violate a core principle, but they have to.
They violate those core principles every fucking day, Mike. Every day. They're walking around lying about election fraud, people in your own party are protecting fucking predators. You lie about the trans community. You lie about women. You lie about black and brown people. You lie to the American people about budget cuts. You try to reframe the name of the one big beautiful bill to the working families tax cut, even though we know what's in it. Every fucking day you lie. And you're trying to convince people that great idea. You can write up a whole bunch of shit on the chalkboard and say, this is what we stand for. Meanwhile, you are taking away rights. You're taking away freedoms. You do not advocate for the rule of law. You spend money like it's fucking monopoly money. You're approving a $1.5 trillion defense budget at the expense of Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP benefits, etc., and then claim waste, fraud, and abuse. That's fiscal responsibility, human dignity. Q. Adriana Smith and others. Really? Individual responsibility, like the ICE agents who murdered Alex Preddy and Renee Good? Is there individual responsibility? How come they've not been held accountable? Why have they not been dragged into a court? You believe in the rule of law, you said, right? Why have they not been investigated? Where are they? Why are you forgiving this bad behavior over and over and over and over and over again? Your president has enriched himself by billions of dollars since he took office. And you're going to stand there and say that, dude, you're going to get scolded tonight big time. You're not going to get your Swanson frozen dinner. Sorry. Good morning. Good morning, Jen.
I just quickly wanted to say I'm glad that you're bringing this up about like Mike Johnson saying things, trying to convince people. I'm not sure if you saw this. I was going to send it to you last night, but there was a segment on CNN with Charles Blow, who's the Langston Hughes Fellow at Harvard University, who looked a Trump supporter representative of the Republican Party straight in the face and said, look, this is a news agency. I'm on, national TV. I have an ethical responsibility.
Called him a liar.
You, sir, are a liar. Don't call me a liar on national TV. And he took his pen and he looked, liar. That is how we need to be, because as much as, of course, like all the work we do together, I love 350 million Americans to listen to you, right? They don't. But I think that what Charles Blow did on CNN should be the norm, because Americans deserve the truth. And they're so busy lying to fit their narrative that nobody really knows the truth. And if every reporter on every outlet were to do what Charles Blow did the other day, I think we'd be in such a different situation, hopefully.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, friend. Be safe out there. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, it's a great soundbite. You're a liar, sir. You're a liar. And we need more of it, right? We need more of it. I'm going to bring up Obi, and I'm going to give the keys to the car to Obi for a second. Good morning, my dude.
Hello there.
Hello there.
You're driving. I'll be right back.
So let me ask you.
Hold on. You're driving. I'll be right back.
I'm driving. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah. Okay, folks. Hey, listen, we need to be tapping that screen. I do not believe we are at the like level that we should be at. There's 1,000 of you in here. Please do tap the screen, tap, 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 share the screen. Share it with people that don't like facts and that don't like us. There's a gift goal up there for the Do Something Tour, which is super important. And we do realize that trying to raise $25K is like climbing Everest without a Sherpa or rope, but it's important. If you can, do what you can. Even $1 helps, right? Steve is out here every single day doing this show. It's not like Steve has corporate sponsors that are paying him millions of dollars a year to do this. He relies on the kindness of strangers, literal strangers. Most folks don't know who he is, never met him, right? So please do what you can. Stuff that you could do for free is tap the screen and share the live. If you've got some tokens, go ahead and do the daily Heart Me and let's get that stuff going. Because if we really appreciate Steve, let's do the free stuff and get this out here so it stays sticky on the FYP. Speaking of things that are sticky, let me ask you a question, my friend.
Sure.
If Mike Johnson is sick and tired of us shoving human rights down his throat, why are his sycophant fans always on their knee as he slides the white Christian nationalist hot missile down their throats?
Because they love that.
Yes. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a hot missile down anyone's throat.
Nope.
But I'm just saying, how does a Christian, because that's what he claims he is, stand there and lie with such ease, spread misinformation with such ease? I do believe there's a number above your head. That's 174. Is that correct?
Yeah, 174 days. Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So let me ask you another question. There was this law passed about the E-Transparency Act.
Correct.
Was there not?
Correct.
So one of the tenets of American conservatism, fuck, I can't speak this morning. Help me, I've lost my tongue.
Conservatism.
I don't want to tell you where it is, but it's lost.
Hey now.
Thank you. Hey now. Thank God my wife's not here. That would be embarrassing. So rule of law, 174 days with zero oversight and accountability. A year and a half of holding the House and the Senate and zero accountability via oversight, which is actually their constitutional obligation.
Correct.
They are in charge of oversight.
Correct.
A year and a half of supposedly searching for fraud, waste, and abuse while cutting USAID.
Correct.
And therefore causing the unaliving of, I think it is something akin to 100,000 persons.
At a minimum.
Or more. At a minimum. Right? Okay, so incarcerating persons in private prisons with no oversight or human rights abuses being addressed.
Correct.
So being the only party in the entire history of the United States that constantly increases the debt and the deficit while never having a balanced budget, and then pointing to the Democrats who always lessen both. And the last president who actually balanced the budget with Republicans' help, I will say that, was Bill Clinton.
Correct.
But Bill Clinton got a Hummer in an office, so you know that apparently removed all accomplishments from him. They don't police their own people for SA allegations in Congress on both sides of the aisle. So, Mike Johnson, you're supposedly the leader of the House. When are you going to lead? When are you going to stop indoctrinating people? Because your bullshit about the Declaration of Independence and your religiosity mission, listen, you're not out here recruiting people for Jesus. You're out here representing the House. You need to do your fucking job.
Yeah.
And you need to stop preaching, and you need to stop proselytizing, and you need to stop lying. Because while we are struggling on the left to try to find a voice and an actual leadership that believes in the progressive ideals that we've been pushing for, at least we're pushing and we're trying to do something. What the fuck are you trying to do, Mike? What have you done? What are your accomplishments?
Maintain power.
You went and bragged about all these things that all of these people do. We're not a monolith. Listen, that's what every cult leader says.
Exactly.
Right? And as long as you're out there supporting Slumpy McShitpants, which, by the way, Slumpy, the new name, I fucking absolutely love.
Donald
right?
Slump. Yeah, Donald Slump. I love that. Yeah, agreed.
But I want to end with this because it is Free Speech Friday. Listen, let your fucking freak flag fly. Get out there and do what you want. Put on your Daisy Dukes. Have fun. Enjoy your neighbors. Be kind to somebody you've never been kind to. And you know what? Tap that fucking screen. Gift the host Share the fucking love. And you know, here's where I want you to tap him. Right above his glasses. Just gently, like you're gonna move up and then gently pull his hair a little bit. Maybe moving close and gently stroke that beard. You know, just let him know that at the end of the day, you're here for him. Not only are you here for him, but you're here for his needs as well. And ladies, you know how to do that. Tap that screen. Show that zaddy who's boss. Let him know, ladies. Give Steve some love. It's fucking Let Your Freak Flag Fly Friday. Yeah, baby.
Get out of here. I love you, my dude. See you later. Bye. Okay. Again, the messaging, right? And that's what Obi was talking about. For decades, we've been sold this lie. And Mike Johnson is the one that's perpetuating it. Now, you can sit there and say, oh, we're the party of all these things, but you're not those things. Not at all. None of those things. I'm about to get scolded. Probably. Anyway. Let's just finish this little sounder from him, just because I think we need to capture the hypocrisy.
Republican Party. It's individual freedom, limited government, the rule of law, peace through strength, fiscal responsibility, free markets, and human dignity. I don't ask much more of anybody, but you got to hold the core principles that made us the greatest nation in the history of the world. I never ask anybody to violate a core principle, but you have to give up on some of your personal preferences sometimes, because you're in a deliberative body and you have 434 colleagues. Okay, other people. So that's the message. It's nothing more than that. The president has the strongest endorsement in the history of politics, as I mentioned. But
he's got. Let's unpack that nugget. He's got the strongest endorsement in the history of politics. You mean because he has a cult? I'm sorry. What? He's got a 29% approval rating on the economy. It's 10 points lower than Joe Biden's ever was. Yeah, but super strong endorsement.
We don't demand loyalty to the president. What I demand as Speaker of the House is loyalty to our core principles, the principles of our party, which are the principles of America, and that's what we're standing for. Jay.
I don't need to hear that anymore. It's like the dog's angry. Yes, I agree, Kipper. Hey, I agree. That's Mike Johnson. That's Mike Johnson. And not only that, I'm going to play a little bit more for you, because this is important since we're here. I wasn't going to spend this much time with Bitch Boy today, but I'm going to. Then I've got some sound to play for you from other great moments of Republican politics. People who believe in the rule of law, people who believe in human dignity, people who believe in the moral high ground. So first of all, the first things first. Yesterday, the president of the United States, or 2 days ago, where's the sounder? When he said this famous quote, where is it? Hold on a second. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm in trouble. Told you. Hang on. Where is it? Everybody keep tapping, please. And then we're going to get into some more of the hypocrisy. This was a moment. You heard the president talk about how he loved inflation. So he got cornered. He, being Mike Johnson, got cornered outside his office by Manu Raja, and listen to his answer. Listen to, when asked the question, your thoughts on what the president said about loving inflation. I agree, Kipper. Hang on a second. Tech is not cooperating today. Goes to the machine. Here we go. Sorry.
I love the inflation amid these high economic.
I knew somebody was going to ask me that. It was totally out of context. You know what he was talking about.
That's the message that voters want to hear right now.
No, the president is laser focused on the domestic economic situation. He is working to bring down prices. He is working to get the Strait of Hormuz reopened. We have passed legislation. He's used executive orders to get the cost of living down.
What about the economic today?
Everybody got their highest tax refunds they've had in their whole lives. They're getting greater paychecks. There's all sorts of great economic indicators, but there's still challenges. Gas prices among them. So what he was saying is it's going to be great to have that number and compare it to what comes next when we get these situations resolved. That'll be a fun thing to consider and to compare. That's what he was talking about. That was the context. I was standing right behind him.
Are you worried about these economic numbers, though?
My God. Do I have that fucking sound?
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, you know, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. You know, we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil. Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships. Late at night with no lights because they don't have any radar because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look. Remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be we hit the best economy we've ever hit. And I said to my people, I had Scott, I had Howard, I had Pete, I had all of them. I had Todd in the room. I said, the one thing we have to do now, we had just hit the highest stock market in history, highest 401ks in history. Everything was going well. And I said, I hate to do this to you guys, but Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon very soon. We have to go and attack. So we hit them with the B-2 bombers, which took a lot of courage. It was totally successful. We buried it, very hard to get. But now we had to make the second move. And I said, you know, the bad part is the stock market will go down by a lot based on predictions of experts, like 25%. And it was worth it. To me, it was worth it not to have a nuclear weapon. And the other thing is that oil would go to $250 a barrel.
Okay.
It's at 85.
What?
And, which is pretty amazing.
Inflation to come down between now and
when the war is over?
Yes.
It's coming down.
I know you can't.
It's going to come down like a rock. And again, we're taking out millions, which I'm just announcing today for the first time. But we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil. Millions of barrels. Every night, we took out oil.
Okay, you heard that nonsense. So let's just play this sound from Mike Johnson again, just to make sure that Mike explained, Trump-splained it to us.
I love the inflation amid these high economic.
I knew somebody was going to ask me that. It was totally out of context. You know what he was talking about.
But that's the message that voters want to hear right now.
No, the president is laser focused on the domestic economic situation. He is working to bring down prices. He is working to get the Strait of Hormuz reopened. We have passed legislation. He's used executive orders to get the cost of living down.
What about the economic today?
Everybody got their highest tax refunds they've had in their whole lives. They're getting greater paychecks. There's all sorts of great economic indicators, but there's still challenges. Gas prices among them. So what he was saying is it's going to be great to have that number and compare it to what comes next when we get these situations resolved. That'll be a fun thing to consider and to compare. That's what he was talking about. That was the context. I was standing right behind him.
Are you worried about these economic numbers, though?
I mean, come on. Come on. That would make me want to throw my phone across the room, too. No doubt. I mean, come on, Mike. You heard it. You heard it. That's his answer? Like, really? Okay. On that, I've got to play this sounder from Kevin Hassett because this is some wild shit. Kevin Hassett is out there trying to, I'll give him
Perform
credit.
a nuclear weapon.
I'll give him credit. He's trying his best to defend the administration, but he gets caught a lot because when you can't defend the economic policies to which you are responsible, you are the messenger. You are part of the economic machine that has created this bullshit that we are in. It becomes a problem when you don't have policy to stand on. And of course, now I don't have it. What the hell is going on? Okay, something is up. Here we go. Well, I'll play this for you in the meantime. I got to play this because this works. Hang on.
These are MAGA's words of wisdom.
Here we go. What is going on? I've got all kinds of tech issues, guys. Hang on a second here. Might have to do a hard reset. Don't know what's happening. Well, that's going to be a problem. Talk amongst yourselves. Let me bring a guest up, and we'll have a conversation until I can figure out what the fuck is up with my tech.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, optimistic Pelicans fan. How are you today?
I'm doing good, my brother. I'm having a really good day so far, man. I'm glad you're playing Bitch Boy Sound. We sent that sound last night in the chat. It was going insane. All of our volunteers call Mike Johnson the gift that keeps on giving. Trump says something absolutely outrageous, and he has to respond, which has been fantastic.
I know.
For those of you that don't know me, my name's Lance. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm running Matt Gromlick's campaign against Mike Johnson. We were supposed to have our primary May 16th, Governor Landry, and all the Republicans. I mean, it's the white supremacist last effort. I have never been more confident right now that. Well, I don't want to speak it out of existence. There are a lot of regular people that are getting involved in campaigns. I had the opportunity last night to speak with Amanda Bell. She's running in Wisconsin's 6th district. I met her campaign manager, and what's so funny is it's stories that I keep seeing whenever I speak with new campaigns. I've never been involved in politics before. I'm a teacher. I'm a nurse. But I have to get involved somehow. I've felt a calling to get involved. And she told me last night, her campaign manager, she goes, Amanda, I don't know if I can take this job. I'm just a regular person. I've had the sales job for 10 years. And I said, look, girl, I said the same exact thing. So my reoccurring, every time I come up to any panel, get involved. You have no idea how much value being a regular person is. These DNC guys that have been involved in politics their whole entire life, the people with quote unquote experience, they will ruin and tank a campaign. People are tired of the status quo. Just your fresh perspective on progressive policy will make the world of difference. I don't care what your background is. Get involved. That's all I got, Steve. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, brother. Thanks a lot for being here. And come back.
Talk soon, Steve.
Come back when we have a plan, okay? I appreciate you, brother. Be safe out
there.
Of
course, brother. Take it easy, man.
You too. I've spoken to Lance and to Matt. We've had some conversations together about Matt's campaign and been able to interview him a couple times. And it's unfortunate. He's literally running in the district that Mike Johnson's district is in. So, yeah, I agree. I've got all kinds of tech issues, guys. So at this point, I'll just bring up guests and we'll have conversations. Don't know what's going on. Everything crashed. My entire computer just crashed. So hopefully the live is still up. Looks like YouTube is still up. We're good there. I agree, Kipper. It's crazy today. It's Free Speech Friday. I don't know what the hell's going on. All kinds of ghosts in the machine. You guys ever been to Lubbock, Texas? I've heard it's a great place. Spaniard, are you there? I guess not. You can request again if you want to come back up. Okay. Kipper always has a lot to say. I see it, Tiff. Yeah, YouTube is up. Good morning, friend. How are you today?
Well, thanks for asking. So, I have a lot of experience with, just hear me out for a second. I have a lot of experience with HOAs and condo associations, which have governing documents, which have presidents, which have budgets. And a lot of times homeowners buy into these associations not reading the governing documents. And so there's a constant battle of getting everyone, the president, the HOA, the management company, to understand what the association's responsible for and what the homeowners are responsible for and what the budget covers. And just thinking about it, you know, I think that's a lot of what's missing for a lot of U.S. citizens, right and left. I mean, if someone on the left thinks that our taxes should cover one thing and someone on the right thinks our taxes should cover another thing, and we have the Constitution, which, you know, can be understood differently. I think that's just where I'm seeing a lot of disconnect. And even this morning, I'll wrap this up quickly. Even this morning, I heard someone on the right claiming that the weaponization fund should even be used for people that the Clintons hurt 30 years ago.
I know.
You know.
I know.
And I think
Trying to spin it.
Anyway,
They're trying to spin it and justify it is what they're doing.
yeah, if there was any way that some way the U.S. citizens could be anywhere on the same page as to what our taxes should cover, because that's what I'm screaming at the chats or at the live sometimes in my head, like, what do you think our taxes should pay for? The way the White House looks right now? No. But anyway, I just thought I saw the connection between the HOAs and condo associations and just thought, you know, that's where the problem is, people just not understanding, and it's frustrating.
It is. Yeah, it's a good call out. Thank you for joining us today and for your continued support, friend. I appreciate you very much.
One last note,
Yes, yes.
I let Obi know that I have him beat on making you blush, because I threw out the Flavor Saver comment that I don't know how quickly you recovered from that. So I've got Obi beat.
Jesus.
We all look at your Flavor Saver every day.
Oh my God. Thank you, friend. I
You can drop me.
appreciate you after that comment. Thank you. Okie dokie. Yeah, anyway. Jesus. Whew. Okay. So shifting gears a little bit, since it's Free Speech Friday. Hector, I see you. Don't you dare. You're not coming up after that, bro. You can stay right in the chat. Anyway, I want to play some sound from Victor Marx. Has become someone who I know, right, Nichelle? Shocker. Freaky Friday, that too. Victor Marx, just because I think we can laugh a little bit. You can, bro, you're always welcome. You can come up. This gentleman from Colorado, and by the way, I know that there's a lot of our mutuals and a lot of friends who join us regularly from Colorado. What the fuck is going on out there? What is going on in Colorado? I want to first start with John Oliver, because we can all laugh in our lives. He called this one particular moment out of this soundbite that I'm going to play for you. And because I like John Oliver so much, well, there you go. That sound is gone too. So I'll just have to play this. I don't know what is happening, but I'll play it for you, and hopefully my tech will recover. Here you go.
All right, let's take a listen. You claim that you've been all around the world armed to the teeth rescuing women and children from captivity, that you've stopped human smugglers at the Mexico border and made them pay a price, that you as a civilian called in a U.S. military airstrike that killed 70 ISIS fighters, that you were the first American into Gaza during the war with Israel, that you've done 150 high-risk missions and every one has been a success. You told me last week that it's all true and that you don't need to prove it to anyone. But you're talking to voters now. How should voters decide whether you've lived one of the most extraordinary lives in human history or whether you're a liar and a fraud?
Can we back up to her for 1 second?
Please answer the question, sir.
I will. But I'll make a little informal complaint. The folks at home don't want to hear about her past and what she did. That's not going to make a lick of difference to those who are having trouble putting food on the table, Kyle, paying their electricity bill, having to try to figure out how to send their kids to school.
Sir, how much of your time do you plan to burn before you answer the question of whether you tell the truth?
Do I tell the truth?
How should voters discern whether you have had one of the most extraordinary lives in human history or whether you are a liar and a fraud?
Well, simply go back. I have 20 years of videos and documentation and people. We just had our head of security in Iraq call in a video today. The proof is just in people. And
call in video now? Okay.
What we document, I can't help it if I've had an extraordinary life. I'm an ordinary fella. And starting from my childhood all the way to now, me standing up on a stage running for governor, Reagan, I said I was going to talk about you. Come, seats.
Okay, I'm going to pause there briefly because I want to play this set because he's about to talk about what John Oliver's highlighting here. So here you go, because this is great. We need to laugh
this week, and during which that reporter asked him this truly incredible question.
You claim that you've been all around the world armed to the teeth rescuing women and children from captivity, that you've stopped human smugglers at the Mexico border and made them pay a price, that you as a civilian called in a U.S. military airstrike that killed 70 ISIS fighters, that you were the first American into Gaza during the war with Israel, that you've done 150 high-risk missions and every one has been a success. You told me last week that it's all true and that you don't need to prove it to anyone. But you're talking to voters now. How should voters decide whether you've lived one of the most extraordinary lives in human history or whether you're a liar and a fraud?
Spectacular. That might be.
I mean, that's Kyle Clark. I mean, listen, that guy, anybody who lives in Colorado knows, and I played sounds from him before. And in fact, I've reached out to his station to see if I can talk to the guy because that is fucking brilliant. That's how you do it, but it gets better. It gets better. Oh, what happened? God damn it. Yeah.
So,
Man,
I want to
all kinds of shit is
start with a
breaking today. I don't want to play Lindsay. Here we go.
The first debate in history won by the moderator. And just look at his co-host there, who must be thinking, hey, I didn't know we were allowed to be sassy bitches tonight. And if you are thinking there is no answer that could possibly be stranger than that question, I'm afraid you are wrong.
I can't help it if I've had an extraordinary life. I'm an ordinary fella. And starting from my childhood all the way to now, me standing up on a stage running for governor, Reagan, I said I was going to talk about you. Come, seats. This little dog, she's going to go bite you right now, Kyle. She was in Syria and Iraq. So is she lying too?
Incredible. That is a grand slam answer to a home run question. His brain is truly one of a kind because who else on earth would hear the question, are you a fraud? And even think to answer with, hey, are you calling my dog a liar?
No fucking notes. Hang on one second. Let me just do something real quick. Hold on. I know, Kipper. Hold on. So today is cap and gown day. And I just got the picture from the kid trying it on. Last night, there was arts and crafts time in our house as she was working on designing the top of her cap and gown. Of course, it's adorned in all USC colors and all kinds of shit. So we had it was fun last night. Baccalaureate this evening, graduation tomorrow, and graduation party on Sunday. So there's that. Okay. I know. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. I am proud. I'm super proud. Silos, how are you today? Silos, how are you? Silos, are you there? Silos? I guess not. Okay. I'm having all kinds of tech issues, guys. So my apologies. I'll try to get through this as best I can. But we're all over the map. Looks like they might have timed out. Hi, Leah. How are you?
Hi, good morning, Steve. Good morning, Fax Chat. How are you doing?
We're good. What's going on?
I wanted to just bring a little bit of good news relating to AI data centers.
Okay.
Here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and a neighboring county, Blount County, there were enough people who spoke out about the movement of AI data centers that both of these districts have now rezoned the areas to make it a lot harder for AI data centers to move in. So people's voices are being heard. So keep fighting the good fight.
I love that. I've been starting to hear those stories. A lot of people pushing back against the data centers. You have a lot of background noise, but thank you for jumping in today. I really appreciate you for being here. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those stories that we probably don't talk about enough. I think we have to be careful. I appreciate people, wanting to produce music. It's a fine line for me. I'm a supporter of artists, but we can have that conversation a different day. But that is good news. And anything we get these days, any little bit of news that we get, I think is good news, is something we should be celebrating. That's why I always say joy is resistance. Minnie, how are you today?
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
We're good. Thanks for being here. What's on your mind?
First off, I'd like to say thank you for everything. Come Monday, I am back after September. We're looking for a job for 9 months back in the corporate world. Ugh. And unfortunately, I won't be here as often, which is very sad for me. I've been listening this morning, and usually I just wanted to say thank you to you originally. I've learned so much from being on here. I try to make it every morning. It's part of my coffee and breakfast time. Don't ask me what I'm having for breakfast. I don't want to tell. But I just, listening today and earlier, you were talking about, like, how do we make a difference? For me, I've learned to listen more than talk less. I've also learned from your live, for myself, as far as, I think, being a progressive now, people, how do we make change? How do we vote? And my takeaway is to vote Democratic down the ballot. We have progressives in the Democratic Party. Everybody's talking third party. To me, I don't want to look at it that way. I used to look at it that way because we want something different. I think we need to make something different. And that's the Democratic Party. I think it's possible. And the reason why I do is because I follow my kids' advice. They're in their 30s and they are very progressive. Their friends are progressive. Their friends are running for seats around me. And from your live, I've learned to get involved. Back them, support them, do what I can. Anything, just be there for them. Show up to things for them. You're saying, why I can't do this, I can't do that. You can't take a Wednesday night, from 6 to 8, show up for somebody. Just say, hey, you know what? I'm here. I believe in you. One more takeaway, because I won't be here for a while to say anything for a while, if that's okay. I think out of my 3 kids, only one of them will have children. The other 2 have decided not to have kids at all. And I think the takeaway for me is to start teaching children about politics, about our government, about how things are done. A lot of people up here, I'm voting their party and don't understand why we're telling them don't. Myself, I didn't know much before I started watching live. I'm going to be honest. I did not know much about government. Didn't really care. I was a child of the 80s. I didn't care. I think we need to care more. I think we need to teach our children more. Don't take for granted that they're taught in school. It's not indoctrinating to teach your children what goes on in this country. It's not indoctrinating to teach your children the truth about this country. And that's just my takeaway today. That's my Free Speech Friday, because I won't be here for a while. I appreciate you very much.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for saying that. I think that's the right message. That's that epitomizes the entire do something spirit, about just reminding folks what it is that we're fighting for. How we get there, we can all have a variety of ways, but there's got to be humanity first, last, and always. Thanks for the support as always, Minnie. I appreciate it. And don't forget, you can always watch replays on the YouTube channel if you miss something, because that's there as well.
I will. Thank you so much.
You got it. Thanks for your kind words. Have a good day. Be safe out there. I love that. Okay. I've got a little bit of sound here. Things are a bit disjointed. I wanted to play this. I've talked about Anthony Scaramucci before. And the weird part about this guy is obviously he was friends with the president, so he's a bit of an enabler, but he's been pretty consistent since his time in the first Trump White House as communications director. He goes on a podcast with Katty Kay, who I love. And he reminded me of this one clip, this interview, by the way, that he did a while back. Now I've lost the sound again. I don't know what's going on today. Apparently he was talking about how when the president did this famous interview with Leslie Stahl, he talked about why he diminishes the press. He diminishes the press so when he does something bad, he can just blame the press. And to me, that's what this entire thing has always been about. Like I've said this a million times. I discredit this institution so I can criticize it. And then I'll just blame that institution to say that they're corrupt, they're rigged, just like elections, just like science, just like the news, etc. It was a great bit of sound, but for some reason it's gone. So I'll play this one instead. This is from Aaron Burnett talking about what Marco Rubio said about UFC. This is wild.
Which is that what they're doing with the UFC is akin to putting a man on the moon.
When President Kennedy announced that we were going to put a man on the moon and return him safely to the earth, no one thought that was possible, and we did it. We are a nation founded on doing what no one else dared to do and no one else aspired to do. And at some level, that's what this whole company, what UFC has been.
Yeah. I wasn't aware of that. I was, that was an interesting...
We're all learning new things together, Aaron Burnett.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't lose the power to be stunned.
No.
Okay?
No.
All right. So Trump and his allies are saying how great it is to have the UFC at the White House, right? That's what they say. How do Americans see it?
Yeah, they don't see it in any such way. You talk about putting a man on the moon. Putting a man on the moon, quite popular. The appropriateness for this fight, UFC fight at the White House. I mean, what are we talking about in terms of the American public? We are talking less than 20% of Americans say that, in fact, this event, look at this, 16% say these U.S. White House fights are appropriate. And just 31% of Republicans say they're appropriate. Donald Trump's approval rating with Republicans is north of 80% in the average of polls. So we're talking about 50 points lower among Republicans. Even Republicans
so this
are quite...
basically as bad as it gets.
This is about as bad as it gets. It's the exact opposite of putting a man on the moon.
I mean, Marco Rubio comparing a UFC fight, again, Trump's homoeroticism. And like I said, dude, let your freak flag fly. It's happy pride, Donnie. The fact that Marco Rubio is comparing building a UFC octagon off of the Jefferson balcony in the on the White House grounds to putting a man on the moon. Okay, I'm going to use that to ask our friends on the right something, because I've been hearing a lot lately. This has been more of a common thread, not necessarily lately, but I've been hearing it more and more often when we bring up the conversation about education reform and changing taxation and changing the way our government functions and universal health care. Their answer is, we can't do it because we're too big. And then I'm like, I grew up at a time when I was told that we as Americans can do anything we want. We can do anything. There's nothing we're not capable of. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no river wide enough. We put a man on the moon. Right? So if that is the argument now, then that completely destroys your entire vision of making America great. You're sitting there saying we can't have health care because we're too big. We can't do that. It's too expensive. We can't do this. We can't do that. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Aren't you supposed to be the most patriotic that we have? You're the ones that fly the American flag. You're the ones that drive around with America first. You're the ones that celebrate in your backyard barbecues about, the promise of America and America first. And then you're presented with something that would solve so many problems in our country, ensuring every American. And your answer is, we can't do it? I don't know. That's pretty defeatist if you ask me. But
I think
I say what you want, I guess. Let me see if I can find this. None of these clips they've just vanished. I have a spreadsheet that I use, and I put a lot of the clips that I want to play so I can have some sort of semblance of order. And I just click off the spreadsheet, and they have just disappeared. So they're not working. I blame certain people for that. But whatever. I won't hold it against you. So let's see if this one will play. Maybe this one will. Yes. So Scott Jennings has been getting dragged. I'll give Scott Jennings credit. He goes into these spaces. He lies. He defends him. He tries to defend himself. But here you go. This is Scott Jennings on CNN being unmercilessly dog walked.
Much fun for January 6th.
Scott, on that note,
somewhere, by the way,
do you
somewhere.
agree, though, with Trump this morning saying he loves inflation?
No, it was very inartful. I mean, I understand what he was. I think he was saying.
What was he saying?
I think he
you
feels
it's good for the country or good for the people who are
the
struggling?
numbers are better today than they were under Biden, but it was
That's
an inartful statement.
absolutely not true.
They're as bad as today as they were since 2023.
Yeah.
You're arguing that inflation today or during Trump's term is as bad as it was during Biden's term?
I'm saying
Surely you're
that
not
Trump,
arguing that.
I'm
Surely
saying that-
nobody would argue that.
No, I'm saying that Trump said he was going to come into office and lower inflation, and it's higher today than it was when he took office.
Well, the rate of inflation today is certainly lower than the rate of inflation during Biden's term.
But not when Trump took office.
The
And
rate
he's
of
actually
inflation today
contributed to-
is lower than the rate of inflation.
It's the highest pace
Democrats-
it's been since 2020.
Democrats took. I'm not arguing the numbers. I saw the report, and by the way, it is a political issue. I mean, if inflation continues to trend up, if gas prices don't come down, you can't deny that.
Yeah.
But
Do you think he'll apologize to the American people for tanking the economy and making them broke?
We've had 3 straight months of massive job growth. We have
And
manufacturing
why are people
green shoots
losing
all
their
over.
health care? Why are gas prices over $6 a
What do you
gallon?
mean
Why are
losing their
grocery?
health
Scott Jennings.
Somewhere,
Karen Finney, we
Karen,
gotta-
Eric Swalwell and Al Franken are exchanging WTFs on text
Unreal.
messages. The way Democrats like you are handling Plattner right now, I
Pivot.
can't believe you threw those guys out. Unbelievable.
All right, we'll leave it there.
We voted
Karen,
for
Scott.
a guy
Up
who
next,
went around
we're
with a
staying on
pedophile.
top of the break.
Pivot. Okay, so yeah. Let me do this real quick. Let me take care of our daily PSA for the Do Something Tour, since people are thinking in that collective spirit. Now, of course, that won't play either. I don't know what's going on today. Something is just not working. I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but it's bugging the shit out of me. Well, in lieu of that, what I'll do instead is what is going on? All kinds of shit happening here. This is nuts. Close that down. Let me go here. I'll use this as a promo because I got to take a little break. Hang on one second, you guys. Sorry. Tech is just freaking out today. I don't know what's happening. But I'm so good at tech. I can solve all these problems. I'll be right back.
Facts still matter, so stand up, lean in. You don't need a cape just to help someone win. Do something simple, do something true. Make a sandwich for a friend, hold the door for someone too. Facts still matter, it starts with you. Check on your neighbor, share what you can do. One small action turns into a wave. Do something today, be the change that you crave. Facts still matter, it starts with you. Facts still matter, it starts with you.
Thank you, everybody. If you do want to donate to the tour, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo are all at Facts Still Matter. Let me just check over there real quick. First, I may not have gotten to everybody. What a day. It's hot up here, you guys. It's freaking hot. Thank you, Cookie. What do you see when you look deep into Trump's eyes? The back of his skull. That's a good one. Sav, thank you for your kindness. I appreciate you very, very much. That's very sweet. You guys are awesome. One of the things I wanted to kind of get to is this soundbite that Kevin Hassett made, the economic advisor, one of the people connected to Project 2025. He was talking about the last thing that they've been able to hold out hope for was that wages were outpacing inflation. Well, that has now changed. And we did a bit of a comparison, and I needed the sound to kind of help address it, but I can talk through it because inflation, as we know, CPI number came out this week, 4.2%, and the average wage growth is 3.4%. So yes, people are earning more, but because inflation is now higher, they're in this weird position. So I'm trying to find. I can't play it. I don't have any of these sound. This is really weird. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna try something real quick. I'm gonna bring up a guest. I want people to tell me what's on their mind, and I'm gonna try to fix some tech while you're talking. Good morning, Dean. How are you?
I am not bad. Much yourself?
Well,
besides all the tech issues and all the fun you're having.
It happens. What's going on? What's on your mind?
I did see John Oliver last week, and that debate was just hilarious. But I also, did you see that I messaged you and said I put an interview with Josh Turek in the internet videos in the Discord?
I have not seen it yet. Haven't had a chance to look over there.
Yeah, it was Heather Cox Richardson did an interview with him on her YouTube, Facebook page last week, and it's a really good interview. I liked a lot of what he had to say, so
I'll check it out.
I thought you'd be interested in that. He's not the progressive candidate that I really wanted, but he's said a lot of really good things about actually trying to do things in Washington. So
that's Iowa, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's the kind of person. I think there's a lot of rumbling about the state of Iowa. There's a lot of I don't know if that state's necessarily in play, but it seems like it might be.
Yeah, he's polling right about even with Hinson right now. So, but he did a really good job of not just saying that he's not a Republican. He put out some things that he really wants to get done and some policy proposals that he wants to work on. So I thought it was a really good opportunity for him to actually let people know what he's actually about. So,
yeah, I like him. I think Rob Sands is someone who could probably represent your state. Iowa, Alaska, Ohio, North Carolina, Texas, Maine. There's some states that are in play that may not necessarily have made the radar last year from the predictions markets, but we'll see. But thanks.
Republicans are so scared they're going to lose the governorship that their legislature is busy right now taking away as many powers as they can from the governor that they've spent the last 10 years giving the governor. Kind of like they did when Scott Walker lost in Wisconsin. They were like, oh, we want the governor to have all these powers. Oh, damn, we're going to lose. No, we don't want him to have any power.
It's a really good point. Thanks for jumping in, bro. I'll check out that video. Thanks a lot for being here. Appreciate you.
All right.
Have a good day.
Have a good one.
All right, too. Bye. Sorry, guys. A little bit trying to just, thank God it's Free Speech Friday. A lot of people have a lot to say. So you guys have the show until the rest of because nothing is working. Good morning, Chris. How are you, brother?
Good morning, Steve. How you doing?
I'm good, man. What's going on?
Listen, first of all, why is everyone surprised about Trump's nipple fetish? Babies love nipples.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But listen, a couple things I really want to push back on a little. First of all, I hate the narrative, who's the leader of the Democratic Party now? There is no leader. There's never a leader of any party if the party's not in power. It's simple as that. Until you have a nominee or the person's the president, there's truly no definitive leader of the party. I mean, who was the Democratic leader in 2014?
It's a good point.
I mean, no, 2018 rather. Yeah. 2018. Who was the Republican leader in 2010?
It's a good point.
There's no leader of the party until the party is in power or you have a presidential nominee.
It's a really good point.
That's the whole point. Also, as far as, we go back and forth about the Democrats, the biggest problem between the two parties is the Democrats are good at governing and terribly at messaging, where the Republicans are great at messaging and horrible at governing. Mm-hmm. They cannot govern for the life of them, because if their whole premise is they want to destroy the government, why would you put them in charge and think they're going to do anything positive for you if their whole point is to try to destroy the government?
It's a really good point.
And it's also why they don't actually run on policies. They only run on social issues.
Culture wars. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the biggest thing, and it's tougher for Democrats because listen, the Republican Party is YT men and trad women. That's all there is. So it's easy to play to them. Whereas the Democratic Party is extremely diverse. And that's why you have issues. And that's why you get upset because this one didn't do good or this one didn't do good, because it's so diverse. But the fact of the matter is, if you want more progressive candidates, you need to have them really out there pushing. And if they get elected, like Mondani is a perfect example. When Mondani gets elected, he does a good job the Democratic Party is going to go, oh, that's going to win. Oh, let's go that way. Because I understand the establishment. I'm going to go, if I'm the establishment, I'm going to go with, I know what has worked for me in the past. I know who, listen, this guy's in power. He's been in power. Well, why are we going to change course now? And that's the way to think of it. And I understand that because you're looking to, you know, if you're looking to maintain power or to gain power, you're going to go with what you knew worked. Yes, things change, but if you have to prove as a progressive or anything like that, you have to prove that your message can get across and people will listen and will respond. And that's how you're going to change things.
I hope so. I mean, I think that,
You know,
I'm pragmatic when it comes to policy. Like if you show me good policy, I don't care who authors it. I like policy. You give me a good argument to solve the healthcare crisis or the education crisis or building a stronger social safety net, then sign me up.
No, I agree, but I mean, look how bad it is. I mean, we praise Republicans who do just the simplest, littlest things that anyone should do. Like we praise Marjorie Taylor Greene for going trying to push the Epstein files out there. Well, she's a horrible person. Besides that, look at Cheney there.
Liz Cheney.
Everyone,
Cheney. Yep.
yeah, Liz Cheney, because she actually did the right thing and stood up against, you know, a tyrannical person. We praise her. She had nothing. There's no policy Liz Cheney would put forward that any of us on here would agree with.
I would agree.
But that's how low we've gotten. We go, oh, well, they did something that's supposedly right, you know. Oh, when you going to New Hampshire, by the way?
I'll be there for Bike Week.
All right, do you have your shot? You got all your shots before you go, right?
Yeah, I'm literally.
You know, that's a dark place. That's like Mordor. I don't know if you can get out of there or not.
If you know, you know. If you know Weir Beach, if you know Weir Beach, then you know exactly.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, you know Weir Beach.
Yes.
Of course you do.
Now listen, I got one more suggestion. If you really want to raise money for the Do Something tour, why not mustache rides? Sell off mustache rides.
Okay, bro, get the hell out of here. Have a good day. Jesus, where have we gone today? It is Winnipesaukee, exactly. Where have we gone today? We are in it apparently. It is, well, and it's Free Speech Friday after all. Not your average Katie. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to share some good news with everybody in the crowd. My MAGA brother is turning a leaf.
Really?
Yes, this is coming from a guy who has a Charlie Kirk magnet on his refrigerator. And he has said, that's it, I'm done. I've been bamboozled. And he says he's not going to vote anymore. And I don't know if I can change his mind, but either way, I'm just glad he's not MAGA anymore.
What do you think was the final straw? Could you point to anything, just like like death by 1,000 paper cuts, or what do you think it was?
I think it was the last drop in his 401k that really set him off.
Interesting.
Yep. He's very, very upset about how much money he's lost. And I keep explaining, I worked in finance for years, and I told him, I said, listen, you keep talking about, you know, it's going up and up and up. And then the last time it dropped, he got really upset. And I said, you have to understand, Ryan, that money that we're losing, we don't just gain it back. You have to, there's more math into it than that. So when you lose $10,000 and then you gain that $10,000 back in 3 months, you're still not factoring in the fact that with the old amount, you're losing money regardless. And I think it just finally clicked with him. You know, he's just done. He's lost like $45,000 of his 401k.
Yeah, well, sometimes it has to be personal. I'm glad he's...
for him it does, yeah.
Good. Yeah, well, I appreciate you sharing that story. Thank you for the good news. I appreciate you and for your support. Thanks for being here. Have a good day. Be safe out there.
Absolutely.
All right,
you
take
too.
care. All right, bye. You hear these little things. You know, we always wonder what it's going to take. I know someone in our community was taking their dad to the doctor the other day, happened to be listening to my show, and I went down the list of things like, you know, you were promised affordable health care. Not only did you not get affordable health care, but your prices went up. You promised that inflation would go down. Not only did inflation not go down, but inflation went up. Not only were you promised to put Hillary Clinton in jail, didn't work. You were promised this, you were promised that, you promised this, you promised that. You got none of it. You got none of it. In fact, in many cases, you know, now they're trying to justify, well, it was lower than under Biden. Now when he left office, it wasn't. You know, just own your shit. Just fucking own it. You know, and then the situation with Bill Pulte. So there's a FISA vote, FISA, which is it's like a It's basically spying on the American citizens. It's something we use for national security. There's supposed to be a vote today. I don't know. I'll check in with my mod team. I can't even get into Discord now. So guys, I'm flying blind a little bit here. So if somebody needs something from me, if I miss something, you have to text me because I can't even get into Discord. So I don't know what's going on. Anyway, Bill Pulte was the president's pick to be the DNI director. And that initially they were going to approve Bill Pulte, or let me back up a second. They were going to vote to extend FISA so that they could use this tool for to monitor Americans and whatever else. It's a pretty important piece of, it's a pretty important tool. Then the president throws out Bill Pulte's name. Bill Pulte's got his background. Check True Social. Okay, I will. See if I can do that. Bill Pulte's background is in the housing industry with no experience in intelligence at all. And so Republicans and Democrats and Republicans both said, we're not going to extend FISA if this is the guy that's going to be in charge. So it's likely going to expire. Mike Johnson's trying to blame it on Democrats, but it's Republicans that stepped up and said, this is fucking bullshit. So they appointed somebody new. I think his name is Jay Clayton, who was a former, was a Trump lawyer. What am I looking for? What's what True Social posts? The ones with the time and place of the signing announced shortly? That one, Tiff? Guys, I can't get, I don't have Discord. So we're the Iran one. Thank you. Okay, got it. Okay. This is from the president a few hours ago, or earlier this morning, actually.
Based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved, I have, as President of the United States of America, canceled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran scheduled for this evening. Discussions and final points have been, in both concept and great detail, approved by all parties involved, including the United States, Israel, Saudi, UAE, Qatar, Turkey, Pakistan, Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, Egypt, and others. The naval blockade will remain in full force and effect until this transaction is finalized. Time and place of the signing to be announced shortly. So that was yesterday. Is there another one? Oh, sorry.
Is there another one? That's the most recent one that I can see. Oh, here's one. Okay, I got it.
The terms that Iran leaked out to the fake news have nothing to do with the terms that we agreed to in writing. What they said, including their weak, empathetic statement on having a deal, bears no relation to the truth. Very dishonorable people to deal with. With them, there is no such thing as dealing in good faith. Amazing! Also, their totally rebuffed drone attack last night against Indian ships leaving the Hormuz Strait is totally unacceptable. They better get their act together and fast. President DJT.
So, what the fuck? I'm seeing if there's anything else. How many times? Hi, Steph. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so Lance was on here earlier. I think it was either Lance or Devin, and they were like, "You need to go on here." I am Amanda Bell's campaign manager.
Hi.
For Wisconsin District 6 going against Glenn Grothman.
Beautiful.
And so I just wanted to say hello to everyone. I know in the 6th district right now, it is a crazy race. We've have a lot of people running. We're not used to having this many people running. We've had 2 people run in the last election against our, including Glenn Grothman. So it is a different space, but I think overall Wisconsinites, as well as many other people, are just fed up with the current situation, not just with the administration, but with Congress and how they're not doing anything. And I know Amanda Bell worked for 25 years in in the U.S. Geological Service, watched Doge come in and rip everything apart, and quit her lifetime career as a water scientist and administrator to run for Congress and stop the madness. So I am a staunch independent, and found her and was like, she's my candidate, and she's running on the Democratic ticket. But I am so proud of who she is, and just wanted to get on here and hype her up a little bit.
If you want to, and ask her if she wants to join us, I'd love to talk to her.
Yeah, she's currently with another call right now on another event, so she could not jump in. But
I don't mean right now, but anytime.
yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I would love to have her on here, and I just think she is a progressive candidate. She's looking to bring people together and I think it's so amazing that we're saying progressive candidates when the goal is to listen to the people. It's astonishing to me. I mean, I grew up learning that it was we the people, for the people, by the people, and here we are in a situation where it's like, oh, if they want to listen to the people, they're a progressive candidate. And I'm like, what is that? So I'm just very proud to know Amanda and just to be here. And I will definitely, if you are having this next week, I will see if she can join us next week.
I go live every Monday through Friday from 8 till noon.
Awesome.
Anytime
Great.
she wants to come up, no matter what we're talking about, we always have a spot for candidates. We'd love to talk to them. As someone who's not only served in politics, I've also worked on numerous campaigns. I'd love to pick the brains of candidates. So the door's wide open.
Wonderful. I will let her know to pop in. If anybody wants to follow her, she is running for the 6th Wisconsin district.
Yes, but not
against
Monday.
Glenn Grothman.
But not Monday. Just to clarify, but not Monday. I won't be here Monday. But yes.
Okay, not Monday.
Yep.
Sounds good. Yeah, thank you guys. So she's on here. It's Amanda Bell for Congress. If you'd like to follow her here, and then if you'd like to donate, her link is in the top link of my link tree. So just really appreciate all of you and everything that you do and everything that you're talking about too. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Steph. I just followed you. Please stay in touch. You can direct message me. I'd love to set something up. But I appreciate you being here, and thanks for bringing awareness to your candidate. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great day.
Same to you. See you later. Love that. I've been very fortunate to sit down with Lisa and Stacy. I think I saw them both in the chat this morning. They've been very kind to offer me a seat when they interview candidates, and it's been great. I love to do it. And I think the great part about that space is that, it's no holds barred, so to speak. We've challenged some of the candidates that have been up there, and I hope they've learned something from us, right? We all have different perspectives in the way in which we ask these questions, and I ain't shy, that's for sure. And we'll continue to do it. We will continue to do it. Hi, Jelly Cow. How are you this morning?
I am okay. It's Friday. I want to preface, they had to cut my power for next door, so my internet's out. So I'm on LTE right now. So
that sounds great.
I may end up getting cut. So congratulations to your daughter.
Thank you.
So I have a couple of things. First of all, a very short open letter to our president, which is, Dear Donald Trump, please stop wasting our tax dollars. And please stop going to sporting events. Just stop. Please just stop.
There's that.
So that is my open letter for that. And then the other thing, I think the other clip from Johnson, I think that you were probably going to play if your computer was working. When he said that we can't afford, that there's going to be plans to quote unquote take care of our quote unquote entitlements, such as Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, etc. It got me thinking that all of this can be cured, and it might sound surprising to a lot of people on the right, but if we were to raise minimum wage to a livable wage, tax the rich at a reasonable level, less people would need social safety nets. More would be paid into taxes in general, both by the middle class and the rich, and we'd be able to pay down our deficit. And I think that the rich, in particular, the corporations and whatnot, they're more interested in I need the money right now. You know, when you pay people more, they buy more, they spend more.
Capitalism.
And yep. And overall, if you think about it, that means more money going into our economy. They're going to make more money, but they want it right now. They're not willing to pay people the money that they can spend that will increase their profit margins as well. So those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of what we've all discussed. Like, you know, it's the argument. This is the weird part about it. And I'll drop you down, Jelly Cal. Thanks for being here today. I appreciate you very much.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. I still, it amazes me the lengths to which people will go to defend corporations. You know, we had a situation, I was on a live the other night, and I thought I was making progress with this person, and then their misogyny showed up. And we don't engage. But going through an experience where a large corporation he lost his job, right? And we start talking about this whole, you know, system where we continue to pander and cater to these corporations who, again, are not job creators. They're not. They never have been. That's the model. That's the lie that's been told. Corporations, well, you start taxing them, they're going to leave. Let them fucking go. They don't create jobs. They take jobs. Mergers and acquisitions are not job creation. And anybody who's ever been through an M&A, you know what happens. You acquire a company, and then you identify if you've got overlap, and then you usually cut people. Or you offshore, or you replace with automation. It happens all the time. Not job creators. So they've been able to lie to us. Well, I should say, they have been lying to us. Us, the collective, and people who believe in this whole fiscal responsibility, small government, you know, we can't let them leave. Well, let them fucking go. They're not a benefit. They employ a lot of people, but they don't create jobs. There's a fundamental difference between those two things. I'm going to take this opportunity once we get through this guest to talk about our trickle-up economic theory that I wrote based on empowering women.
السلام عليكم يا how are you? أنا from Gaza. كم مساعدة؟
Okay.
الله يكرمك يا رب العالمين.
Okay, I'll mute you. Friends, if you have some coins, if we can get to 1,000 coins for our friend here, go ahead. I'll let that slide today since it's Free Speech Friday. I want to see if I can find this because I think it's necessary to talk about it. Since I'm filling. All right. Okay. I wrote this a while ago, and this is on my Substack. If you haven't yet subscribed to my Substack page, you can do so. The link is in the link tree that's in my bio. The idea behind this is I got the idea from our friend Ash, who talked about this, and I'm like, that's an interesting theory, like this whole trickle up. And I've really been researching it, and then it's been focused on, you know, how we flip the script. And if we think about democratic socialist types of policies or social democracies, it's kind of they focus on. It's just a matter of reprioritizing how our system should look. So it's a quick read. I wrote this a few weeks ago, or actually a few months ago now, so I'll just read it to you. It's titled Women's Empowerment in a Trickle-Up World. Women's empowerment is not simply about representation, it's about power. Who holds it, how it's exercised, and whom it serves. Around the world, women have demonstrated that when they gain access to education, capital, healthcare, and leadership roles, the benefits extend far beyond individual success. Families stabilize, communities strengthen, economies grow. Empowerment then is not a niche issue, it's a structural one. If women ruled the world under a trickle-up economic principle, the global system might look fundamentally different from today's dominant trickle-down framework. Trickle-down economics assumes prosperity begins at the top, corporations and the wealthy, and eventually filters downward. A trickle-up approach reverses that logic. It starts with the needs of households, workers, caregivers, local communities, investing directly in the foundational layers of our society. In many societies, women disproportionately occupy these foundational roles. They manage households, serve as primary caregivers, run small enterprises, and anchor community networks. Centering them would mean centering the base of the economic pyramid. Under a trickle-up system shaped by women's leadership, policy priorities might shift toward universal childcare, paid family leave, healthcare access, food security, and education. These are not soft issues. They are economic multipliers. When mothers have affordable childcare, they can participate fully in the workforce. When girls are educated, national GDP rises. When healthcare is accessible, productivity increases. Investment at the household level stimulates local spending, which then strengthens small business and circulates wealth within communities before it rises upward into larger markets. Such a world might also measure success differently. Instead of focusing primarily on stock market growth or GDP or corporate earnings, metrics could expand to include well-being indicators, maternal mortality rates, educational attainment, wage equity, community health, and environmental sustainability. Leadership styles often associated with women, collaborative decision-making, long-term planning, and relational accountability could foster policies that prioritize stability over short-term gain. This vision does not assume women are inherently more virtuous or flawless leaders. Women, like men, represent a wide spectrum of ideologies and leadership styles. However, historically marginalized perspectives often bring fresh priorities. When those who have managed scarcity, caregiving burdens, and system exclusion gaining influence, they tend to design systems that reduce those pressures. A trickle-up world led by women would likely invest first in the margins: children, the elderly, the poor, the environment, and infrastructure. Recognizing that sustainable prosperity grows from a secure base. Economic power would rise from kitchens to communities, from neighborhoods to nations, rather than wealth cascading down from the top. Opportunity would expand from the ground up. Women's empowerment, therefore, is not only about equality, it's about redesigning systems to reflect interdependence. If power flowed upward from empowered households and communities, the world might discover that lifting the base does not weaken the top, it strengthens it. So these are the kinds of things, right, as we discuss these, as we have these conversations about the vision that we want, the how we get there. If we just focus on the things that should be the most important, let's use the rhetoric. Let's use the rhetoric from the right. If you care about women and girls, if you care about protections for communities like you claim to care about, then put it right in their face. Then prove it. Show us policies. Don't give me your hatred towards marginalized communities. Don't give me your excuses. Don't give me your lame bullshit about bathrooms. Give me fucking policy. Talk about raising the minimum wage, universal basic income, expanding childcare, offering a plan for universal health care. But you won't. You don't. So how do we fix it? We elect progressives. And you demand change. And you hold people accountable. And if they don't do it, you vote them out and you start over again. So give me a plan. Adam, how are you today?
السلام عليكم يا أخي from Gaza ممكن مساعدة؟
Sorry, I just had a guest, but thank you though. I appreciate you being here. So, that's just one way to look at it, right? It's just one way. It's one way to look at it. It's one way to look at the system that we currently have. We know that it's not working. And I know I talk about this, people accuse me of talking about it in platitudes. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think so. It's there. We've got models. We can look at Scandinavian countries. We can look at the models that they've created. They've just decided they're going to invest in their citizens. We got to stop thinking that we can't do something. And ironically enough, this is MAGA conservatives are going to hate this. That's why the left is significantly more patriotic. Because we believe that we can have these things. We believe in a brighter future for our children. Ironically enough, we also believe in a brighter future for their children too. I've said this before. We've had, the 92%, if black women can stand in the breach and focus on harm reduction, even though they know the system's been stacked against them from the beginning, if they can go to civil rights marches, know that they're going to be arrested or beaten or worse, and still do it, if they can align, for the most part, 92% behind a Democrat, that tells me something. Because if their lives are better, then lo and behold, imagine what a privileged white man's life might look like. But of course, privileged white men in our country would never give credit to black women for making their lives better, but black women wouldn't ask. They wouldn't ask. They're not going to ask. They're not going to want the praise for making, I won't speak for them, but from what I've been told, they're not asking for that. They just want their lives better. And ultimately, a byproduct of that would be the rest of our lives to be better. Why is that such a difficult concept for people to grasp, right? We get tired of getting ripped off. We tired of paying too much money for our health care? We tired of rights being taken away? It's not really that complicated. It's not. Again, that's what the Do Something Tour is about. Just to remind people that your voice does matter, your vote does matter, your presence does matter. If we stop showing up, if good people just check out and just bail, whether you think you're fighting for something, third-party voters, non-voters, you're harming people. That's ultimately what's happening. I think somebody said this earlier, that non-voters or third-party voters specifically, third-party voters and progressives tend to align on a lot of the same things. But there's no plan. There's no plan for the third-party voters. You got your internet back, Jelly? Yeah, I have not. My internet's fine, but for some reason, nothing seems to be working. But it is what it is. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Couple things. Okay. Well, I'll play this. So this is a soundbite from. Nope, guess not. I spoke too soon. Yeah, no. Nope. Anyway, that's where we sit, right? So we've got people that are finally realizing, like white America, finally realizing that farmers in Ohio and in Georgia and in the Midwest that have been aligned based on either their family's legacy of voting, or they've just been told that they're a Republican or they're a conservative, or they just can't vote for the libs or for whatever reason. Like, I don't know why. There's no explanation why. You're just told. I'll sit and debate politics and policy with someone every single day. I'll do it 24/7 if I have to. I will make the case for the things that I believe in economically. I don't debate culture wars anymore. It's just a platform. I've chosen that. I'm not going to sit on a panel with misogynists. I'm not going to panel a misogynist. Why? Let them swim in their own waters. I want to move our country forward, and that includes everyone. And I'll say this again. This is what the right does not understand. There's people that are fighting for them. I've said this before. Black women under threat, being called horrible, horrible things, want the person who's calling them those things to have health care, to have a better education system, to have taxes that work for you, not against you, to stop propping up the corporations, the authoritarian capitalism system that we sit in, right? That's just it's a weird concept that people have just given up on, this idea that we can't do something. I don't know where that came from. I don't know where that defeatist attitude came from. The text now is about the shape of the cap. My daughter says it makes it look like an egghead. Anyway, but I think about that. I mean, she's graduating high school tomorrow, going out into a world that is not there for her benefit, right? She's part of the majority. What's 51% of our country are women. Let them lead. I shouldn't say let. That's the wrong word. They should be leading. We as humans are designed that way. We're supposed to be a matriarchy. That's what we are. Men are supposed to go out and break shit. Go do that, and then come back, and then I'll fix everything. And then get the pat of the head. Men are subs. Make good soldiers. What was it, Mother Hen's quote? I forgot what she said about that. It's a better quote. Because women are leaders. Right? I mean, we have to look at societies that function with a focus on education, healthcare, strong social safety net, and infrastructure. And they thrive. Sure, they pay more in taxes, but what do they get for it? And I watch people defend this argument that corporations are the fucking heroes. Are you kidding me? Compliant soldiers, exactly. They're compliant. It's a good way to look at it. Did you change your profile to try to sneak in? I see your game. I know your game. I know you.
This is my backup.
Uh-huh. How are you today, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good, brother. Happy Free Speech Friday. I haven't seen you around. Did you take some time off or no?
I was sick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I tried to force it one day last week, and that was a terrible idea.
You feeling better?
Then I started on Monday. Yes, outside of asthma, I'm a little backed up with, because I process it differently than other people. But other than that, feeling a bit better now.
Okay. Thanks for sharing.
You know what? I could have kept that to myself. We're gonna leave that there.
It's all good, man. Hey, it's Free Speech Friday.
I requested up because of what you were saying about how we got to the point where people feel like you can't do anything. And I wanted to talk about what got me into voting in 2024 versus the reason why I vote now. Because ultimately, those of you who do not know, 2024 was my first election voting. That was my first time paying that close attention to politics, anything of that nature. And what made me do it was not necessarily this grand belief that Kamala Harris is going to drastically change the country, although I think she had some fantastic policies that would move the needle. But more so that I started to realize that things around me were not getting better. And I just started looking at these candidates and looking at these policies. I'm like, okay, if I ultimately believe that the system is corrupt, if I ultimately believe that there's only so much we can do, every 4 years, it doesn't change the fact in the now and midterms, we know that one of those people are going to run off of things that help me. One of those things is going to run off of people that protect my family. One of those people are going to run off of things that are going to at least curb the I guess the destruction of the United States ultimately. So I was like, okay, if I still am here and it's going to exist anyway, why not vote for it on behalf of my favor? And then now, after doing more due diligence into history, this was a crazy conversation I had with a friend of mine 2 nights ago, where I've been paying more attention to the 2016 election. She said, I want you to go look at certain key states, Pennsylvania, Arizona. I want you to go look at the 2016 election to see how many votes that Hillary Clinton lost by, and have your feelings about Hillary Clinton, whoever, I get it. We're talking about 20,000 in some cases.
Yeah.
Or less.
Yep.
In key swing states. And we know how many Democrats existed then and now, especially considering the turnout. Just marginal numbers that she lost by. When you look at even recent elections here in Texas with our primaries, it could be a county where 10 people showed up to vote and the Republican got 1 more. There are counties like that because people just aren't showing up. So then that changed from everything's corrupt, I'm just going to vote for the person who's going to make it less bad. And then, we literally have the power to change every freaking thing. And obviously it's another hurdle about the corporate interest and getting money out of politics, so on and so forth. But the right person is just a few of us getting up and getting out, away. It's literally that simple when you look at the numbers. And I would strongly suggest you actually look at the numbers. So that's all I wanted to say. Just the transition into realizing the significance of this was realizing how many people don't understand how much it matters. They don't understand how every single person you phone bank, every door you knock on, every person that you try to reach and talk to could be a person that can change those numbers that keep bringing us back in this vicious cycle of looking at people like Trump and going, this guy won somehow.
I've been on your live. I know you've done a couple of lives where you wanted to talk to non-voters, and you've been gracious enough to let me sit in a shotgun with you on those. And I'm curious, you and I have talked about this, about how we all desire to have more options. Like, we'd love to have a robust third party or a fourth party or ranked choice voting in every state. And my pushback to those groups of people right now is I don't think they're getting the message, because I've not heard a lot of plans from those people. Like, what is the plan? So I had a couple of conversations, not sure how long you've been in the live today. Hector, by the way, friends, if you don't follow Hector's backup, please do me a solid and follow it, please. When somebody tells you that they're a third party voter, where do you go with that conversation?
Actually, much like how you just kind of did it there. And I have to admit, I have a particular vitriol for third party voters. And it's not because I don't believe in the same things that they do believe, because we have the same understanding of politics as it is today. The problem that I have is it's basically a virtue signaling vote to me. It's just, this vote makes me feel good about myself when ultimately it doesn't impact anything. And the insult I think a lot of these third party candidates give to not only their voters, but America, is ultimately only caring about things on an election year. Some of these people aren't campaigning, all now building a coalition, building up a party to actually challenge the two main institutions come 2028. It's the same thing where they only pop up during the election year. You have no idea who they are until they're up talking crap about both parties, and it makes you feel a certain way inside because you feel left behind. And I think that's an insult to you. I think that's an insult to the third party voter. So I try to present it to them in that fashion where I say, hey, what would you do if a guy showed up at your door and he tried to sell you a product? And he goes, okay, this sounds good and all, but like, what's the ROI? What's this and that? He's like, oh, I don't know. I'm still figuring all that stuff out. I just came up with this today. It's like, okay, where have you been this whole time? Did you not do a research? Do you not have a card? Blah, blah, blah. That's basically how I look at third party voters. It's just like these salesmen who try to sell you something that they really haven't fully fleshed out or cared about before it was beneficial to them in a key year. That's how I see it. So that perspective is kind of what I try to use when I approach them. Unfortunately, sometimes they just go, but,
Yeah, I mean, that's been my push lately is just give me the how. Like I'm open-minded for ideas, and I think you called it out, and I agree that a lot of people that are third party in particular, the non-voters is a different category. You know how I feel about that. You and I've talked about it. And that's the target of the Do Something tour. Like there's 45 million who don't give a shit, and then there's 45 million that really just feel left behind. Like they don't feel like they have a voice. Those are the people, if I could draw a map, those are the people that I would be sitting down with on my tour to try to remind them what's at stake. The third party group, they think that there's too much power, the media monopoly, the corporate monopoly, the corruption, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yep, agreed. How do you change it though? And none of them can seem to answer that question. The how. Organize. The answer we hear is the answer we hear is organize. That's the answer we hear.
6,000%. This thing I've been, this is me just being petty, I guess, but it's a good damn point. We can get a lot of them to get behind Zohran Mamdani. And then I asked them, which party did he run behind? Which party did he get endorsements from? Zohran Mamdani could not do anything that he did as an independent. I mean, I think he would have done better as an independent for sure, compared to the average one we've seen. But he went with one party. So you can have all the vitriol that you have for Democrats.
Good point.
He even understood how he's going to get his initiatives going, and it was through the Democratic Party.
Good point.
I tell people all the time, you want to see more ranked choice voting? That polls better on our side than any other.
Sure does.
So it's not necessarily about liking them. It's about what you want. The only vehicle you can use to get closer to it, whether it's in 10 years, 20 years, 30, even the next 100, because this is a journey, it's going to be Democrats. I don't freaking like it.
Yeah.
We don't actually like it.
We don't.
We just understand the situation.
Well said. I appreciate you, friend. Again, folks, if you don't follow Hector's backup, please do so. Are you going live today? Is Friday a fun and facts day?
Unfortunately, no. I'm helping a friend move. I actually won't be back till Tuesday. I'll maybe panel hopping a little bit.
Okay.
I do have to do some things to take care of, man. But I appreciate you and everything that you do, and make sure you guys are supporting every single thing that this man is doing. Because ultimately, someone's got to do it. And the fact that he gets up here on a daily basis and he puts that work in, I think that should be supported in every single way, particularly to those links in the bio, because this shit is not free. And do it because, truth be told, a lot of y'all want to sit on this.
We got you. I appreciate you, my dude. You're a good man. I appreciate you. He tried to do the drop and run. He tried to do the crop dust. Amanda, how are you?
I am so well. Thanks for taking my request to go live.
Sure.
I am a progressive populist that is running on the Democratic ticket for Wisconsin. Yeah, right.
Yes, exactly. Thanks for being here.
So I've been listening. I've been hearing what everyone is saying. So even going back to about the capitalism and about the, having politicians that are all about the business, and all about the money. One of the unique things about me is I was a federal employee for 25 years. I was actually a water scientist with the USGS, and I saw what was happening with DOGE and with this administration from the inside. Like they were cutting my funding, they were cutting my research, taking my publications offline because, they didn't see the value of that public service. They didn't see the value of why do we care about studying algae, it's not a big thing, except the algae and the toxins that are being produced are going to affect your drinking water. And now you're going to have to buy filters and buy all this stuff, or your city is going to have to pay for all this remediation. So honestly, one of the things going beyond just voting in women, who, I mean, you know, yes on that, but also vote in public servants. Vote in the firefighters, the EMTs, the nurses, the people that aren't out there looking for the bottom line. I admit I'm running in a very heavily contested Democratic primary, and I've been told multiple times that I'm not the establishment pick because I'm too progressive, I'm too inclusive, I'm too welcoming to third-party voters. I'm too welcoming to people who have not fallen in the Democratic line. And I'm sitting here going, isn't that the whole point? To be welcoming, be inclusive, say, hey, I want to listen to you. I want to hear from you. I want to be the candidate that actually makes change. Because I've worked in the government. I know how this all, I know how federal policy works. I helped write it. I know how federal budgets work. I had to manage a $33 million federal budget. I get it. But constantly saying that the biggest problem I'm seeing right now in the politics is that it is still all about the money. Everyone keeps saying, hey, like your competitor has X number of times more money than you do in the bank. And I'm like, good for him. He's a businessman. He's really good at getting people to give him money. I'm a public servant. I am really good.
You went on. You're there you go. You're muted. We lost you.
Sorry.
There you're back. You're back. You're back now.
Okay. But I would rather vote for the candidates who have served rather than the candidates that have proven that they can swindle people out of money.
Well, that's great. Amanda, feel free to call me Steve. I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad you got the bat
Thanks,
signal.
Steve.
So why don't we, let's hear, this is I go till noon. You can have as much time as you want because I think it's really, really important for people to have time to listen to candidates, especially those that are progressives. I'm a bright blue progressive, worked on a couple of Bernie's campaigns, served in my state legislature in the state of Vermont when I was a lot younger. I'm actually a registered member of the Vermont Progressive Party. So there's that. So why don't you talk about yourself? Here's your intro. This is a highly engaged. We always joke that this is the smartest chat on TikTok. So they want to hear what you have to say. So tell us about yourself. Obviously, you've been involved in politics. So here's your platform. We'll do an ad hoc interview. Let's go.
Perfect. So I was a dairy kid. I grew up on a farm in rural Wisconsin. My parents are still farming to this day with my brother. So I'm like, you want to talk about the rural Republican? That is how I grew up. That is how I spent most of my life. And I went to school, got degrees in natural resources and water science, and started working for the federal government when I was still in college. I was trudging through streams and squeezing fish. It was great. And I decided I wanted to do it for a career. I worked for the USGS, which is a federal agency, environmental and science agency in the Department of Interior. And I worked there for 24 years until last spring when DOGE came in and started gutting science and gutting policies that protect our environment. They were firing people that I just spent 2 years hiring. They were canceling contracts with universities because they were too woke. The example of cutting algae funding because they didn't understand why we cared about, algae. When meanwhile, we're trying to protect water quality and protect people's drinking water. So I decided to take the deferred resignation. And as soon as I was no longer a federal employee, I signed up to run for Congress because if they're going to destroy my job, I'm going to take theirs.
Preach.
If they want to try and do all this stuff and nobody's going to stand up and say no, then by golly, I am going to be the woman to stand up and with my whole heart say, absolutely not. We are destroying people and I am not going to stand for that. So I decided to run for Congress. I've since then my husband is my husband's an incredible supporter, but he can't afford to pay for the house and the groceries and the gas. So I've been substitute teaching. So I've got also a very deep understanding now of how the education system in Wisconsin and kind of across the country is suffering because of this administration as well. So
tell us. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask you. Tell us a little bit about your district so people can get to know you. Tell us about what areas you represent, and I always ask candidates when I interview candidates. I think if you could draw a picture of the average voter. I know it's difficult to do sometimes, but like the average voter in your district, who is that person?
Well, so the 6th district is actually one of the most gerrymandered districts in the country. So it actually looks like a dumbbell. We've got some very, very rural counties, very heavy farmed, lots of large animal operations, dairy in particular. But then we've got some more metropolitan areas. I mean, we don't have any of the big cities in Wisconsin, but it basically goes from Lake Michigan over to the middle of the state, in the middle of the Wisconsin River. And it is 11 counties, 5,000 square miles, 750,000 people. It's I will say it is majority white. I think it's 96% Caucasian. So it's kind of what you would expect from a Wisconsin, a Wisconsin district. It's
Sure.
It's not very urban. It's kind of a suburban rural mix, but yeah. But I've been going around to all of these 11 counties. Instead of me constantly going, hey, this is what I believe, and this is what I think, and this is what I want to do, I kind of introduce myself, tell them I'm running for Congress, and then say, what are the top 2 or 3 issues that are affecting you? And the conversations, when people I don't tell them I'm running, what party I'm running on. I don't tell them like where my stances are. I literally just ask them, what are the things affecting you? What are things causing you heartache in your everyday life? Because I've never had a politician ask me that.
Yeah.
Ever. And yeah.
It's interesting you say that because I'm doing this little thing starting this fall called the Do Something Tour. I'm going to be traveling to as many places as I can across the country, not as a candidate, just as someone who wants to see if I can make a difference. I've got 3 kids, 25, 23-year-old boys, and my daughter just graduates high school tomorrow. So there's all kinds of...
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. She's heading off to California for college this fall, so I want to use this time as a privileged white man in America to have conversations like you're talking about. Not from a political perspective. I'm going to try to be as agnostic as I possibly can, but I want to listen to people because I really feel like if we can remove the political filter, the red, the blue, the R, the D, the liberal, the conservative, and just talk to people about the cost of healthcare and why are we losing jobs and why do we have an economic system that does not support the middle class? Do you feel like those conversations are winning arguments in your district?
I think those conversations are changing perspectives. Because we had a gathering last night and a guy came in, he's like, well, I'm a Republican. I said, okay, that's fine. I still want to hear from you. I want to hear what are your issues. By the end of it, he's like, yeah, I could see voting for you. Because he goes, you didn't sit there and tell me what you were going to do for me. He's like, you let me tell you what my concerns are. And I'm like, and those concerns are the same as your neighbors who do usually vote blue. We got to pull apart this, us versus them. We're all just trying to make it in this world. And, it's one of those where as long as you come in with a heart of curiosity, you come in with the willingness to hear from people and not tell them what you think they want to hear, the conversations are so awesome.
Is that why, 'cause as you and I obviously know, a government's not popular, especially Congress. Legitimate reasons as to why. I do believe that our government is capable of doing big things, and I think there's not everyone there is there with nefarious intentions. I think we can all agree on that. Why is it from your perspective, why do you think people have such a disdain for Congress?
Because they go in, they promise all of these things. They promise they're going to make all this change. They promise everything. And they get there. And I think the party system wants them to just keep focusing on the money. Money, 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 money. Get the more lobbyists, get people to give you more money so you can keep running, so you can keep that seat, so nobody else can have that seat. And honestly, I think people would have a lot more respect for Congress, for the Senate, and for the Supreme Court if we had term limits. So that you don't go and sit in that seat for 30 years, become a multimillionaire, and not actually get anything done to actually help the people.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I agree. I've gone back and forth. Definitely term limits on the Supreme Court. No question about that, because that's the power that they have. I think we're recognizing that now. I do go back and forth with members of Congress because we wouldn't have Bernie if there were term limits, but I would be willing to sacrifice somebody like Bernie if we could have a robust approach to governing. What that would look like, would we mirror the Senate? So if it's 2 terms in the Senate, which would be 12 years, does that mean it can only be 6 terms in the House? Something, I'm not sure. I think that's a conversation that we should have. Can I put you on a spot a little bit with some questions? Do you mind?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I have about 5 more minutes.
Gotcha. Would you?
I got to get to my next meeting.
I got you. Would you advocate for expanding the Supreme Court from 9 to say 11 or 13 judges?
Absolutely.
Would you sign on to a petition to overturn Citizens United?
100%. Day one.
Would you consider DC becoming a state?
I would consider DC becoming a state, Puerto Rico becoming a state, Guam becoming a state, and the U.S. Virgin Islands becoming a state, and all having equal representation in Congress.
As someone who grew up, as you said, rural and out in the woods, me too, in the state of Vermont, obviously firearms is a very hot button issue in our country. Would you advocate for something like a universal background check system where it's the same in all 50 states?
Absolutely. I will caveat that with, I am a gun owner. My husband and I both hunt. And I do believe that we need to have those universal background checks, and we need registration to make sure that the private sales loopholes is not going to cause more trouble than it's already caused. So.
Agreed. Again, the reason I asked you those questions is because I think those are popular across the country for the most part. If we can just remove the label socialism, whatever it might be, right? I appreciate that, Amanda. I know you said you have 5 minutes. So is there anything else that you'd like to say to the folks here who, now I'm going to follow you. Maybe we can talk again in more length, but give you a few minutes to get some water before your next meeting. What would you like to say in closing?
Find a candidate that speaks to you, that you feel in your heart is a person that actually has caring for everyone else rather than just being in it for themselves. I left my career of 24 years and I loved my job, but I didn't feel like anybody was standing up for me. So that's why I'm running, and just find a candidate that really makes you feel good about, their platform, and support them with your whole self. So
thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Come back. When is your primary?
August 11th.
August 11th. If you want to come back before then so we can get some more publicity on your campaign, I'd be happy to do it.
I would love that. If anybody wants to follow along, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, all those places, and not X. But it's Amanda Bell for Congress across all those platforms. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Amanda. Good to talk to you.
Thank you for what you do, Steve.
I appreciate you saying that. Have a good day. Be safe out there. Thank you very much. Love that. Love the ad hoc. Unexpected. I really appreciate what she said about how it's the same message that we kind of have with Do Something, right? It's about, we do a lot of, that's why we have 2 ears in one mouth, and we certainly do a lot more talking, and I can be certainly guilty of that as well. We just don't do enough listening. Like there are winnable voters that are not overwhelmed by MAGA. There are winnable conservative Republicans, if that even is a thing anymore. We'll call them moderate. We'll call them Joe Biden Republicans. Okay, they don't want the attention. They're sick of all the the entertainment value that comes to our politics. It's just a matter of breaking down the partisanship, the label, the blue, the red, the R, the D, the Republican, the Democrat, the liberal, the conservative. And that's part of what I want the tour to be. Like, I've talked to the people in our community, and it's going to be difficult. And I'm not going to apologize for being for being who I am and what I stand for politically, but I want to approach these conversations as politically agnostic as I possibly can, right? Because I don't want to scare someone off if I walk in, and saying, hey, I'm a bright blue progressive from Vermont. Want to have a conversation about healthcare? It's probably not going to go very far. But if I ask questions to say, do you care about the cost of healthcare? Are you sick and tired of corporations ripping us off? Do you feel like we're being manipulated by our media? Do you think there's way too much money in politics influencing our elected officials? I can't imagine someone would say no to any of those questions, or that they agree that we should be giving more power to corporations. Guess we'll see. Hi, Lee. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me back up, Steve. I hope my background noise is a lot better this time.
It's all good. No problem.
What I wanted to add on to what I was talking about earlier is in Knoxville, I'm actually canvassing for Bo Hawk for mayor. And he is an iron worker and a unionist who's running on the Democratic ticket, but he's also a progressive. And I'm also a part of Project for the People, if you've heard about that. And that's being run by progressive populists. Yeah. So I'm also canvassing for Michaela for Congress here in East Tennessee. So if we've got some East Tennessee people in here, definitely look into Bo Hawk and Michaela, because they are very progressive, running on the Democratic tickets. And so if we want to start getting more progressives in office to give people back their benefits that they deserve, that's the way to go for Tennessee.
I love that. I think your state has been one that we've seen. I think it was Ashton Bain who swung a right district from 13 points to the left. So there's an appetite. One of our friends, Victoria, is running for Congress in Tennessee as well against Scott Desjardins. There's a lot of activity. I mean, I've noticed this trend recently where a lot of people who are leaving MAGA are looking for progressive candidates, not status quo Democrats. So progressive candidates, if you're out there, don't apologize for being progressive. You've got a winning message. It's just how you deliver it.
Absolutely. And I've already done 2 weekends of volunteering. I'm doing another weekend coming up of volunteering for these canvassing projects. And there are a lot more blue supporters than they would have you believe here.
So true. So true. Thanks for jumping back in, and thanks for the work you do. I appreciate that. If I can help, you know where to find me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve.
You got it. See you later.
Wee.
Forgot about that. It's been a while since somebody weed. Yeah. You know what I meant. Everybody keep tapping. Let's see if we can hit 600K before. And then, again, last minute plug if anybody wants to donate to the tour. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all ad facts still matter. G-Web, how are you today?
I am great, Steve. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
I only came up for a quick second. I wanted to congratulate your daughter. I wanted to congratulate you. And I just wanted to remind you guys, tomorrow, take some slow, deep breaths and just be in the moment.
Love that. Great advice. I appreciate you very much for saying that. It's a reminder. Joy is resistance. Have a good day. Be safe out there.
Absolutely. You too. Take care.
All right, bye. Yeah, it's true. There's a lot going on, man. Got to be able to enjoy summer. We always joke up here. We get, 9 months of winter and 3 months of bad sledding. So got to enjoy it. I finally, I don't ever buy shit for myself, with the exception of guitar stuff. But I bought one of those little micro 4K cameras, like $40. And I would be able to mount it on my chest and take people on a tour around my state on my motorcycle, which I've always wanted to do, but I've never done it because I don't want a bunch of shit on my dashboard or on my handlebars. I like it nice and clean. Unlike Gunny, Gunny's like got a traveling, studio on his bike. I'm envious in a way, but I'm going to be taking people tours around my state that doesn't exist. And we always joke, come on to Vermont, spend your money, then get the hell out. I'm kidding. Maybe not. All right, a couple other things. Listen, I still don't have any tech here. Unless somebody has anything else, I don't really have much else to. Do I have anything else here? I still don't have Discord. That won't load. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I cannot load anything. It's funny that the internet's good. I can see my browser. I can see my router. That's good. TikTok is still up. Don't know what it is. Who knows? Okay. Last call. Anybody wants to come up and chat? Otherwise, we'll drop, say, about 11:30. Hi, Heather. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. I think what the problem with tech is, I think we had a big solar flare.
Is that what it is?
A couple of days ago.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Could be.
So that it makes sense.
Could be. Yeah, could be. It might be. Who knows? I'll blame it on whatever.
No.
It's probably me.
Yep.
I probably broke the internet.
Yeah. Nah. I don't think you did.
Well, I appreciate you as always for your support. Thanks for being here, friend. Have a good day. Be safe out there.
Thank you.
You got it. Okay. Hang on one second. Okay. Unless someone has something else, I think I'm going to wrap there. But I'll say this, though. I'll use the last few minutes to do this. When we engage in these conversations, it's important for people to understand that as complicated and as challenging and as difficult as they can be, they're necessary. And I had this moment the other day, and I was asking myself, when we go through the Epstein files and we talk about these egregious crimes, am I doing more harm than good? And I know ultimately that it's necessary, right? Because we can't sanitize what's happened. And I think that's been part of the problem is if we sanitize it, it becomes normalized and it doesn't stay top of mind, right? And it just doesn't. So we made a commitment, 174 days now that the federal government has broken the law by not releasing everything connected to the Epstein Files Transparency Act or the Trump files. We can't stop talking about it. We've been careful as to how we engage on the topic. We've tried to be by offering trigger warnings, and sometimes that's not enough. And I know it brings up, I know people have suffered trauma because of the situations they've been through, and I'm always aware of that. And it's because of your support for what we do that we'll continue to do it, because this is way too important. I want to say this, though. Don't be afraid to be wrong. Like, don't be afraid to be, I was wrong about that. So I'll use this opportunity to talk about Graham Plattner a little bit. I said this yesterday. When it comes to him, would I be a hypocrite? Because he doesn't have the best track record. He's texted outside of marriage. He's got the Nazi tattoo. I didn't like his explanation from that. There's lots of things there that we could absolutely easily question. And then I look at who he's running against. And I look at Susan Collins, and I looked at how she cast the tie-breaking votes for Brett Kavanaugh to get on the court. Basically, at the same time, said she believed Christine Blasey Ford. She said it was horrible what she went through. And she believed her, and then she voted for a guy who was instrumental in overturning the rights of women. So if that would mean that I'd be a hypocrite, I can own that. I absolutely can own that, because I've tried to be consistent with harm reduction. And I see that as harm reduction. I'm tired of men acting like men and bad behavior. I'm sick of it. I'm really done with it. And I want control of the Senate, because I understand what's at stake if we don't get it. Big picture. If you want to judge me for that, I get it. That's reasonable. I understand. But that's kind of that's what harm reduction at least means to me. And initially, it's more I've always thought about it in different ways about how we have to stop the train from going off the track. But here's a real example. Here's a real-time example. You're going to be in Maine. You're going to be faced with clear choices. Susan Collins, who's not done anything for your state, who's done some horrible things, acting like an actual Nazi, funding money so that we can be sending people to concentration camps. Okay? Or a guy that had a tattoo he shouldn't have had. And I didn't like his answer about his tattoo. It's covered. Susan Collins, who denied the rights of women to their bodily autonomy because she put Amy Boney Carrot and Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court. A guy that has sexted women outside of his marriage. I think to me, that's the line. Now, depending on how you want to vote, if you want to say, if people on the right want to call the left hypocrites, then go ahead. Just remember who it is that they voted for. See, Walter, of course you would say that. She's better than the guy with the tattoo guy. She's better than the guy with the tattoo guy. You don't know anything about her. So I'll leave you with that. Please don't watch the UFC event on Sunday. I don't think you will. Please don't, please give yourself some breaks over the course of the next 24 hours, 48 hours. We'll be back on Tuesday. Again, programming note, no show on Monday. I'll be driving my oldest son home, who's surprising his sister coming into town for graduation. So that'll be kind of cool. So I will plan on seeing you on Tuesday morning. Friends, I appreciate you all. Last plug, if you want to support the channel and you want to support the Do Something Tour, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all at Facts Still Matter. Any item in the merch store that's sold this month, either Facts HQ, you'll find the link in the link tree, or by going there directly, factsstillmatter.site, S-I-T-E. Any and all items in the merch store sold this month, proceeds will go directly to the Outright Vermont, which is an organization in our state that supports queer kids. They've done a lot of amazing things. They're front and center against hate groups. They offer safety. They offer resources. They offer shelter. They offer programs. They offer counseling services. It's a really cool organization. So any and all proceeds from items sold in the merch store this month go directly to that cause. I don't know who's live because I can't get into Discord. So find somebody that's out there. Stand by people that you respect and that you care about. And as always, friends, there's always something to do. So please get out there and do something. Please. Peace. Have a good day and a great weekend. See you Tuesday.